U.N Spacey Wolf Squadron. This is your Wolf Commander Wolf 10. I'm your werewolf. Today is going to be something that we haven't celebrated in a while now. The fun stream. Usually I do this, and I know I titled it Fun Talk, but this is the fun stream, guys. So no particular topic today, just talking about all sorts of topics. And I hope by the time I have announced it last week, some of you guys have got your topics lined up because we are hungry for some topics that you guys probably have been thinking about that you could suggest it in the comments. Now's the day you can suggest in the comments now. So start suggesting them topics, guys, because I got a sheet of paper here ready to write that stuff down, and we'll I'll pick a day for when we're gonna shut up. I see your comment, Trooper. As a matter of fact, since I said your name, let me start by introducing my wingman real quick. So the wolf is always watching. Watch yourselves now. No, I'm kidding. No, but starting with the lovely Leia Valor, Leia plus size.
Hello, everyone. This is Leah Plus Size, your lovely lady of valor. I'm happy you all could meet with us today. And despite the topics we share, I hope we really have a lot of fun and make your day even brighter.
Coming to you live in the basement with good Wi-Fi. It's the Schooner of the Tuna, Schooner Tuna.
Coming at you guys live from a secret government facility buried deep underground with excellent Wi-Fi. This is Schooner Tuna. Let's have some fun.
He's traveled many great worlds, sailed across a sea of stars, blasted a few pink purple hats, and weave wigs and wherever Tommy saw some of your calls those weaverberries. He is the man, the myth, the legend, the FN with a unique number, the Trooper FN 2525.
Hey guys, it's Trooper FN2525, and I'm ready to have some fun talk. So go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and start adding those topics to the comments. Coming to you live from Imperial Occupied Balmora. Let's go for it.
All right. So I did say this is fun talk, meaning that it's almost like a free-for-all topics that we can cover, that we can brainstorm on what we can cover for the next future months ahead, because the Wolf Commander, even though he is the leader, he can be fatigued coming up with these kind of topics to talk about, or at least so that we don't have to run the risk of always sequelizing the more popular topics that we like to talk about on this show here too. Of course, I want to prepare myself for art stream, so we can get into that too. I don't know if you guys want to watch me draw though, and while we talk, of course.
Oh, yeah, that would be interesting. In fact, if you're drawing, we can always say, "Okay, good. Now add this. Oh, add that right there." You'll be like that.
Yeah, or
Avatar the Last
not big enough. Her ass is not big enough. Her ass is
or Leia plus size. Where are my organs? Wolf Commander, I thought you were an expert in anatomy. Where are all my organs? And I will slam the anatomy book right in front of her. Bam! There you go. Start studying.
Right. That's hilarious.
I kid. The Leia Valor is of. She rolled a 20 on intelligence, so she's smarter than any of these little girls that try to postulate themselves as intellectuals and well read and well diversified and well educated.
Well, thank you for that, sir. I
Of
had my commander, so thank you.
She's the lovely lady of she's the lovely lady of class, of course. So she can school these little girls and coach them into courtship. Or preparing themselves of courtship.
I got an idea for a topic. It's called,
as always, he's the main one with the ideas.
He's got a list.
I'm gonna change your designation. You know what, Schooner? I'm gonna change your designation as the idea guy.
Yay! I got ideas.
Idea guy, occupation, demolition.
It's a guy in the chair.
Well, okay, this was well. Now that all that was dropped on me, I feel a little bad. This was a joke idea.
What is
It's
Hey,
called
man.
it's called Hunting Evans with Lady of Valor.
Oh, wow.
We just follow the Lady of Valor as she tries to go and meet the man, the myth, the legend, Chris Evans, and get a date.
Oh, you know what,
I
guys?
like it. Green light.
Before we continue
Green
further,
light,
let me address the
Junie.
chat real quick. Let me just. I'm losing my groove. This monster got me all hypered up, and I'm just trying to do everything at once, and then I overlooked the damn. Excuse me, the chat. See what this monster do to me? I'm influenced.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. I'm owning up to it. I need to stop swearing so much. I need to stop hanging around Choi too much. Bad influence, I tell you. Bad influence.
Mhm.
Anyways, we had the Maverick Hunter Saint Brian Gil Martin with his famous quote here. Nice to have a fun stream for a change. I think you were there for the fun stream last year. Good times, man. Good times. Oh, I overshot Melissa Harris. I'm sorry, Melissa. She says, "Hi guys. Hello. And happy Mother's Day, by the way. And happy Mother's Day to everybody else. Belated
Happy
Mother's Day,
birthday,
mind you."
Kristen Day.
Samuel Lee Oleki says, "Here we go. Needed some fun BSing after the last few days. Oh, I hope the days haven't been rough to you, man." Of course, Brian Gilmore has his comment about what I just said just earlier. He said, "Oh, they're educated, all right. Educated and being the pain in the ass for the sake of it." Excuse me, everybody. Sam Proctor has just got
No.
home.
You gotta say it as pain in the at sign, dollar sign, dollar sign.
Oh yeah. Sam Proctor has just got home from work. Hope you haven't had no problems on the way home either, man. So good that you got home safe. Victoria Fagbile, hello. She says to Trooper FN 2525, she says a lot of people have watched WandaVision say they were upset that Wanda was a villain, but Show was acting like what she did. Let me start that over again. I'm cross-eyed right now. She said a lot of people who have watched WandaVision say they were upset that Wanda was a villain, but Show was acting like what she did is justified. What is your thought?
Well, my thoughts is that it sounds like a few people that have regurgitated that point, which to me, I never saw Wanda as a villain at all. You also have to take in context what actually led to the events that led to WandaVision in terms of where we see the character when we actually go into the show. When we go into the show, we don't know what's going on. And towards the end of the first episode, it plays more like an episode from the Twilight Zone or like the Outer Limits.
Or
And
Black
subsequently,
Mirror.
yeah, and subsequently, as we go into each episode, because you got to remember, and I wish they would have done this a little better, but the viewer is also a participant at this point of what's going on because we don't know what is going on at this point. And as we go up to subsequent episodes, we see that there is something terribly wrong. And granted, when they get to the end, the whole villain thing that doesn't hold any water for me to begin with, because the villain in and of itself, do we really want to go woke? Yeah, let's go woke. The villain really was it was Hayward, if I remember his
It's
last
a
name,
white
right?
male. Let's
It
just
was.
call him what he is.
It
A
was.
white male. Of
The
course,
white,
It was.
the
yes,
scapegoat.
It
Yes,
was
of course.
because it was Sword who confiscated Vision's body, and not only did they confiscate the body, I mean they went ahead
How
and
the
put it back
hell did they
together, and
confiscate
they
his body?
called.
He went into fucking molecule. Excuse me.
No, he
Uh,
didn't. His body was
he
the
didn't.
only thing that was actually left
Oh, that's right.
behind.
Whoa.
Yep.
I'm misremembering. I'm
Yep.
misremembering.
In Wakanda.
Freaking Thanos had reconfigured him and then snatched the gem off his forehead. I forgot.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
misremembered. I'm sorry, guys. I was
So
like, wait a
they
minute, did he atomized?
they were able to reanimate his synthoid corpse, and that's where you got the white Vision from. But I mean, that truly is the villain in the story. As far as Vision as we know him, the Vision that we do get is the Vision that Wanda remembers, because everything that more or less is a Vision now, if we see Vision again, is from the memories she shared with Vision. I don't know how detailed that is. We do know that we finally kind of have an idea of where she got her powers from. We kind of have an idea of how far they go, but we don't know that she's a Nexus being yet. We don't know that she's basically the avatar for Earth 1999-99. We do, however, know that she is at least gifted enough to be able to wipe out all. Do I think she's a villain? No, because she had everything taken from her. And when you have everything taken from you, what do you do as an animal? You tend to lash out, or you tend to hide. Some people said, "Oh, well, Wanda needed therapy." I'm like, it went a little further than that.
Probably, I would have actually had been opposed to that. Actually, if anything, it's just like what you're saying, Trooper. Wanda lost everything. Age of Ultron, she lost her brother. Civil War, she was imprisoned and then deemed a weapon, and then imprisoned again. I mean, did anyone else notice that her prison in Civil War was very reminiscent of the prison we saw her in at the epilogue, the post-credit scene of Winter Soldier? Okay, and then afterwards, she's a fugitive, so she has to go see. I mean, the one happiness in her life, Vision, and they kind of had to do all this running around, and then she's been put through emotional trauma because she realizes that Vision's being hunted and could potentially be killed. And then she has to kill him only to see him be brought back to die again.
Yeah.
So, and then she gets deatomized and then brought back only to find her teammates or everybody, like basically the Avengers, that team that she was once a part of, is now like basically disbanded. So yeah, this is an idyllic character moment, and to show the real hero that is Wanda, because she essentially did lose everything. And yes, this would totally match up with the whole comic book idea where Wanda did in fact lose her mind and create the House of M universe. But instead of the House of M universe, we get this whole WandaVision, which also I'm still wondering how SWORD got their hands on Vision, because wasn't Vision in Wakanda? Do you not think the Wakandans would not have been interested in him?
Well, it's hard to say because
that would have been interesting to see Wanda break in. That would have been interesting to see Wanda break into Wakanda, but that's neither here nor there.
I don't think she would need to break into Wakanda, considering that Wakanda has good relations with the captain,
with the Avengers,
and her not the Avengers. No, they weren't the Avengers still. They weren't the Avengers yet. I'm saying that they would have okayed it to Wanda for the simple fact that they brought them there so that they can help with Vision. That's like saying that if we, and I hate to use this term, but that's like saying if Cap had to bring Bucky over to Wakanda, automatically that makes Bucky property now. Vision was a friend that they brought over for them to help and operate on, not as a property. So I wouldn't think that Wanda would need to break into Wakanda to retrieve Vision. She would just in fact, I don't think they would have kept Vision anyways because he was not part of them. If let's just say this, if Wakanda made Vision, right, that would have been their property. That going by how the Wakandan psychology worse, like
subsequently the body would have been turned over to Shield, and Shield might have turned it over to Sword.
Well, Shield is gone now at this point, unless it's Nick Fury Shield. Anyway, but or here's something interesting. What if Vision is actually buried in Wakanda? He's buried there. They put him there. He died there, and he would be buried along with everybody else who fell during the battle with Thanos.
Hey, Dominic Powell.
Well, from what we know from WandaVision is he's been put together and taken apart so many times that they've pretty much figured out how to get him to operate. Now it's just going ahead and getting a power source to be able to more or less power him on, which they ended up doing towards the end of the series. The only episodes I really had issue with was probably episode 7. So that was the only one I really had issue with, because that was the Agatha episode where they pretty much tried to tie it up all really neatly. Oh, it was somebody else. It was somebody else.
Absolving her for all the things she
Yeah,
did.
and I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, that's an easy cop out if we're gonna have a huge leftist who's never read a book in her life, which is the lie.
That was the biggest cop out in the world. You go one way, and then they decide, oh, we were just teasing that we were going down this route.
Well, even Darcy even mentioned that Wanda is rewriting reality, which that's what was happening. I really thought that's where we were going to end up, in that multiverse of madness was going to be Doctor Strange, digging us out of it.
Denied House of M.
Yeah, which would have been fantastic. She never really.
Wouldn't it have also been interesting if Vision? She never even got Vision's body. That entire construct was just like what you said. Just the idea that she put into his head. Just the idea.
I'm looking at your guys' comments. Keep bringing them up. I'm going to highlight them pretty soon, guys, to really address them. So we're not ignoring them, guys. Keep suggesting them. I've seen something from.
I something from Sam Proctor that I've said before, so I'm gonna sound like a broken record. I mean, if we're looking at Tron Legacy, we're looking at Clue bringing the grid to its maximum potential. That's essentially what happened with our mini House of M. Whether they think they're in pain or not to me makes a difference, because to me they're nobody. They're characters in a show, if you will, that only add to the story. Do we really get to know who they are? No, we only get bits and snippets. Oh, I have a daughter. Okay, well, good for you. You're not part of my story.
Would it not have been
what I want to know?
But would it not have been interesting, though, in the House of M, we show, very similar to House of M, anybody who enters into Wanda's world, the people who may have been getting hurt or something was a bad thing, but what would Wanda try to do in order to ensure she could keep her reality? She could go in there and she would grant those people their heart's desire. Anybody who tried to get it.
And that's how the House of M worked. I mean, pretty much within reason to an extent, in terms of creative writing and in terms of production budget. Yeah, you basically can get what you want, and we would have maybe new heroes, or suddenly they're with their family. So
heck, that would have been amazing, given the fact that anybody who tried to get inside Wanda's little bubble that would have had to try to stop her. They had to ask the moral question, should I stop her because I have everything I want here?
Well, if you ever wanted to be a billionaire, you can in the House of M. If you ever wanted to see someone or be with someone that you lost out on, that's...
Yeah, exactly. Would that have introduced an interesting little plot element? For example,
let me go ahead and explain House of M for those people in the back who probably will catch this and probably don't even know what transpired in House of M, if you guys allow me.
Go ahead.
So House of M is it's taking place within a certain event. I don't know what Avengers story it transpired, but Disassemble, where Hawkeye was killed. So was a lot of people were killed. Vision was, her babies. Hawkeye, I think Hawkeye triggered it too, and he was the cause, if I recall. But it was basically. Say again.
I think it was because he had to kill Vision, and Vision said you had to destroy me, and Hawkeye.
So it started with what was to be done with Wanda, because her powers, for those who don't know, that in the comics, her powers are weird, way weirder than what Maria Hill described in Age of Ultron, right? So they were basically discussing what they were going to do. The X-Men were all for going to talk to her and help her. The Avengers was all about maybe we should kill her or maybe imprison her, Of course, by the time they got there, a white light happened, and everything, through, of all people, Wolverine's perspective, have changed. Humans were, I would say, and I'm only guessing on this percentage, was like what, 15% of the population now,
They were a minority.
pretty much.
Humans were the minority. Mutants were the dominant species.
Yep.
Yep.
Of course, superpowered metahumans were still around, like the Hulk, Captain America. Actually, Captain America got old because he fought in the war. He never got frozen. Wolverine is the director of Shield now, with his own mutant cadre with Mystique, Rogue, Nightcrawler, Jessica Drew, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spider Woman. For those who are not know.
And Toad. And I remember Toad.
Yeah, Toad. That was interesting. Magneto, with all of his children, including Wanda, are basically they're basically living like gods, literally living above the earth right now.
Yeah, he's on. I think he's on asteroid M with Genosha right underneath him.
Right, with a gravestone of Charles Xavier of all places, and I'm still questioning how the hell did that happen. You're telling me in the world where all mutants are the dominant species, Xavier is still dead, or at least Xavier still dies.
I mean,
his tombstone reads, "Here lies Charles Xavier. He died so that Genosha may live." Which means that they're trying to follow that ultimate universe where Magneto had to murder Charles Xavier.
Yeah, it's another way of telling a polytheistic story without directly saying it's polytheistic. Because again, you have certain people living on an asteroid, just like you would have certain Greek gods on Olympus looking down upon their creation. So.
But what I love about House of M so much is that metahumans are basically first-class citizens, with normal humans serving as second-class citizens. Let's see. Storm and Black Panther are married, and Wakanda is actually welcomed into the world as one of the major superpower nations.
Yeah.
So is Dr. Doom.
Oh yeah, I had completely forgotten about that.
Oh my goodness, that was an interesting. Angel Salvador is America's top model of all mutants, man. Because considering, I always poke fun at Angel because the fact that the characters keep mentioning how disgusting she is. I'm like, bruh, you guys are trying so damn hard to make this girl disgusting. I'm surprised. I'm like. This girl is hot. What are you talking about? Like, there's a scene where she spits off freaking bug juice at somebody. I'm like, okay, that's supposed to be disgusting. That don't look disgusting, man. Like she's still she got the tongue curl. She got this yellow shit coming out of her mouth. She got that gag looking face. But I'm like, bro, she still look good. You got her giving her you got her having like what 4 arms. I'm like, girl, dang it, she still look good. You got her laying what 18 little eggs full of babies, and again they're saying, oh man, this looks stinky and disgusting. I'm like, but the girl still look good. I don't see it. I don't see it. You're informing me of how disgusting it looks. I don't see it. The same thing with Husk. Anybody remember Husk? Paige Guthrie? Anybody?
No, I do not remember Husk. If I see a picture, I'll probably remember.
When in doubt, Google image. No, but her mutant ability is that she sheds, or at least rip off her skin to reveal a stone body underneath. Now, there are times that they tend to break continuity on how it's supposed to look. So there were times she will have sheep horns in some of her forms, but they always comment on how disgusting it look. I'm like, but the girl still look good. She's an underage girl, mind you. I'm always using that term. I'm always saying that line loosely there.
Goodness.
But you're telling me that her ripping off her skin disgusts you. I don't see no organs. I don't even see her. I don't see her muscle tendons or her muscles. Period. So what part of her power makes you look freaked out? That's
So
a
yeah,
that's a
she
side
is the
tangent.
top
That's a
model.
ti- that's
So,
that's a side tangent, by the way. That's not even that's got nothing to do with freaking House of M. I just want to point that out. Um,
Mhm.
where were we going with this? Oh, the only person
Angel's
that's
top Angel is top model. Ms. Marvel is the real Ms. Marvel. Is
yeah.
still a
Yeah.
superhero. Kitty Pryde's a teacher. Um, I'm trying to remember. But Cyclops and Emma Frost are. I want to say upper middle class. She's a psychologist and he's a business guy.
Yeah,
But
it was one of these, like, subsequently, a lot of these storylines that these characters desired were playing themselves out.
yeah,
So,
exactly. So
yeah, like,
they got their perfect world so that nobody could ever, all the heroes got their perfect world, including Peter Parker, who's now married to Gwen Stacy, has a kid with her, and Uncle Ben's alive. He, of all people, deserved that happy ending more than anybody.
yeah.
That's just me, though. But, yeah, so all the heroes got their perfect,
I'm sharing you guys page Guthrie. Actually, not Guthrie, Guthrie.
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 Guthrie. So everybody got their perfect world, and Wolverine's the only one who's noticing that there's something wrong.
And that's through a mutant girl that's actually in
Okay.
that world.
Okay, yeah, I remember her now.
That's a Chuck Austin run, by the way. The worst run I've ever read, actually, which is funny because for a time I actually kind of liked it, but now I look back, I was like, oh my goodness, Chuck, what the heck is wrong with you? Is there something that you want to I don't know if that link is gonna work because look how far it's gonna go. But I'm like, what the heck is wrong with you? You got Angel in an underage May December romance with a how old did they say she was? Schooner.
Old enough. Old enough.
She wasn't. Let's
yeah.
just say this: she wasn't legal at that time.
Mhm.
That's what they were. That's what they kept bringing up around Angel. They're like, oh wow, you made him that kind of person. Okay. They also gave him the mutant ability to heal people with his blood too. Remember that?
I don't know where they were going with that one. Why not just remake a new mutant that can do that? I'm just saying. I mean, why do you have to keep adding on to already established mutations? Just make a new mutant at this point.
Yeah. But anyways, go ahead, Schooner. I think you want to continue House of M.
Yeah, so Wolverine's the only one who notices that there's been a change to the world. He doesn't know really why it's Deus Ex Machina, but he just basically says he thinks it's because his mind has been erased so many times that he's the only one who remembers. Anyway, it doesn't matter because he runs into this girl who apparently has the ability in this universe to give everybody their memories of the previous their original timeline.
I have my own thoughts about that too.
Yeah, me too. I kind of thought that was interesting. How in the regular world they're nobody, but when the world
because there is a twist.
Yeah,
there is a twist. Well, there's a twist to the mystery of how it happened and why it happened. But for her, on the other hand, I have my own thoughts and theory as to why she came to be.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So he takes her to. I'm trying to remember. He takes her to the X-Men. He takes her to the X-Men. No, he takes her to Luke Cage first because Luke Cage is running some underground Avengers ring against Magneto. Yeah, the Resistance, which is so freaking awesome. And they get their memories back. They go to the X-Men. They get their memories back. And they all are convinced that they got to go and attack Magneto because Magneto did this because he was.
They originally thought it was Magneto.
Yeah, that it was Magneto because they thought that he had done all of this because he thought we were going to kill Wanda. So they make a beeline over there. Pretty epic fight too at this little at this place that on Asteroid M. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, then they discover that it wasn't in fact Magneto. It was Pietro who did it. Quicksilver.
Now comes to why I say that the little girl who fixes memories.
Mhm.
Why I say that I have a theory as to why she came to be.
Mhm.
I concern what transpired, which is Pietro convincing Wanda. That's what happened. He convinced Wanda to reshape the world. I think Wanda herself subconsciously put her there as a safeguard.
Mhm.
Maybe like as to maybe she didn't want to she was reluctant to remake the world the way how Pietro wanted.
Mhm.
So say for instance if it's like being in the Matrix, right? She
Yeah.
was the she created her to be the Neo of that quote unquote Matrix
Mhm.
world of House of M universe. And of course it came to a head when Magneto came to the picture. And that's when she uttered the famous words, "No more mutants."
Yes.
Exactly, because
Yes.
Wanda was so upset because it says it seems no matter what reality I'm in, I just can't get what I want, and she's just so angry, and they're powerless to stop her again, and they're
That
like going,
and that and she noticed that her father will never change no matter what universe she'll what reality she makes it in. He will always
mm-hmm,
be this mutant supremacist tyrant that she
mm-hmm.
that he always viewed himself. Well, he viewed himself as above humans, but like no matter what
No matter
universe
how
she
many ways he validated himself, he would become exactly the thing he hated.
yeah, a tyrant basically,
Mhm.
and that's why she said no more
Yeah.
mutants, and that's where he and it him being one of the mutants, which about 5% of the mutant population had their powers, right?
Yeah, only 100 and so odd mutants still had their powers.
Yeah, and he was the one that
Yeah.
didn't,
Mm-hmm.
and boy was he broken.
Uh huh.
That final image of him trying to move he's like just in what looks to be endless desert, right? And
Mm-hmm.
there's like this fork standing in front of him, and he just looks at it, and of course it's a still shot of the fork, and it doesn't move. I was like, bruh, I have never seen a man so broken. And how many pounds was it? I
Uh,
think
I think it was 4. Hang on.
yeah.
Let me go get my
Mhm.
comic book.
Hi ho,
I
hi
know.
ho.
I
I'm
know.
off to get my comics or whatever however you
Off to
want.
the book I go. Da 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 da
There we
da.
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. All right, let's take a look here.
Because it was a very powerful shot, mind you.
Yeah, it was. It was a very okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And
That
it's beautiful. He's in Genosha, the destroyed Genosha, walking through the desert, and his foot happens to catch the fork. He stares at
mhm.
the fork, gestures down to it. The fork does not move. There's this look of pained expression on his face as he tries to move it again. Still, the fork does not move. And then he just grits his teeth angrily and just falls to his knees.
Mhm.
It's
that
beautiful.
that was a powerful scene right there. Like,
Because
bruh,
the
who
X-Men show right up on top of him and they say, "Where is she, Magnus?" He doesn't move. Cyclops fires an optic blast just a few feet away, a warning shot, and says, "Where is she?" He doesn't move. Wolverine tackles him and says, "Lost your powers over metal, huh?" Well, and he's holding his head down and he's not even moving. He's just like this very broken man, and his eyes are not leaving the fork. His eyes do not leave the fork.
Mhm.
hmm That's how broken he was. Like he
Exactly.
was. I think at that moment he was waiting for Wolverine to put one in him too.
Mm-hmm. Just really like
Like
in
just
my
do like I'm not gonna tell you where she at. I don't even know where she's at. Just do what you came here for. If you want to kill me,
Mhm.
mm-hmm.
like that bruh. Have you read House of M Lead Plus Size?
Yes, I did. I did, but it's been a long time since I looked back at it because there were some parts that I enjoyed and there were some parts I didn't. So
Yeah.
I was listening to you to try to pick up on what I remember. But like I said, there were some parts I enjoyed and some parts that I didn't like. And I was just going to mention, as you guys talked about One Division and the question came up, um, First of all, Scooney, I love the idea of the In Search of Chris Evans TV show. I'll get back with you on that. Because I love
Oh
that.
goodness.
Search of Evans. Wonderful idea. Wonderful, wonderful creative mind you have. But love that.
One way
But
or another,
No,
I'm gonna
I'm gonna
find you.
find you.
I'm
Some
gonna
of that
get
Well, I
you,
was
early
get you,
thinking
get
opening
you.
more. I
song.
was thinking more of Chasing Amy. That's what I was thinking.
That was
yes,
go, that was
Tracing
go,
Evans.
that's gonna be the opening theme song of that reality show. One way or another. Bruh, you know what? As much as we want to rag on Chris Evans, I'm pretty sure he would have fun with a scene of him being chased by Leia plus size. Just him just running like they're playing a game of tag, right? And Leia's right behind him, just like I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. And Chris
Well, it
Evans
would
is
have
like,
to.
no,
It
you're
would have to
not.
be like a
No,
real
you're
cool
not.
soundtrack. You would need a good soundtrack, and you would need like a strong like storyboard, like
All we gotta
kind
do
of
is
have it be
pick
almost
from
almost
the
almost like
80s.
fanboys. You know, like they were trying to make their way to X, and along the way they get into all these adventures. So
Mm.
See it too is like we show the reality of the situation. Chris Evans is running with a scared look on his face, but in Lady of Valor's imagination, the two of them are just running and skipping together.
oh goodness, oh goodness.
We recreating the Parkers at this point.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's the Parkers. We all know how that ended. So that's basically so
Look.
I'm
As much as I love Monique in that show, I do feel sorry for Professor Olavi. Like that pain expression in his face, that scared of, like I don't look. I always there are times I feel conflicted when watching that show because I love Monique and her antics, but at the same time, I'm like, am I really just like supporting stalker, stalker and potential Stockholm syndrome?
well, I wouldn't stalk Evans. I would just very gently make him come to his senses that we are to be together for all eternity. So I don't see that as stalking. That's just a very gentle,
just gentle little nudges. Hence the hammer, the rope, the gag. Just gentle things.
Oh, yeah.
Bruh, you mentioned all that stuff. My brain went to a dark place there.
It sounds like Ma's house is what it sounds like.
I don't even want to elaborate on what I thought when you kept listening to all that stuff because I was about to dive into some bondage stuff there.
But here's the funny thing about that, okay? We keep showing either these sharp objects or hammers, and then it's just showing Leia plus size just hammering a nail and doing all this. And yes, he is tied up, but she's, being nice to him and all these kind of things, but his eyes are just looking at everything that's going to destroy him in the house.
Well,
reality, he thinks like he's going to die at any given moment, but he's not going to die. She's actually very nice to him, very sweet to him.
Oh, of course. I'm not gonna. Yes, I wouldn't torture him and kill him with pain. It would just be 24 hours of pure persuasion.
Goodness.
You guys make me sound like I am just this awful, evil stalker that is out to rip his heart
They're
out.
the ones who said that, not me.
I did not say nothing. I've just been listening.
In fact, Schooner was the one that perpetrated. I only thing I said was
No.
you making me go dark places when you list the stuff that we're saying. Like dang, bruh. All I said was we're gonna hire Chris Evans to pretend.
Anybody's mind, you went there of your own.
I'm just saying this. I'm just saying.
Rope.
Bruh, all I said was this. All I said was this. We were gonna hire Chris Evans to pretend like he was playfully being chased by Leia plus. I tried to make this fun and gentle as possibly can. You went there right there, man. I'm just saying.
What now, Wolf? What was your idea that you would hire Evans to be?
Yes. Look, he came on his free will. I hired him, paid him good money for it, and all he gotta do is just go tee hee. She's chasing me. I got a fan who's chasing me. Make her the bane. Make her the basically make Leia plus size the bane. I know, huh? No, what I was saying was
It really does.
Look. My mind was. I was gonna make Leia plus size the bane of every fangirl's existence because she got the chance to run around the park chasing after Chris Evans, and when she find Adam, they had a water balloon fight, a little bit of snowball fight if it was snowing that day, depending on what location we went, or played in the haystack, or played in the leaf, pretend like they having a really good time, and both. And both go away happy as hell because Chris Evans got paid. He.
Oh goodness.
I wouldn't hire the man for free. Of course,
God.
The man got paid.
Another idea. You've given me another idea.
Oh,
hang on, Schooner.
Okay.
We're gonna get to you soon. I got to complete the joke, guys. I'm getting there. I'm getting to the punchline.
Okay.
Look, the man got paid, and the lady got the fantasize, live her fantasies for a cool half hour or so. How many episodes we're gonna do with this one? She got to touch him, feel him, chase him, snuggle with him in the leaves and the haystack. She got to sniff him and everything.
Oh goodness.
So win-win. You know what I'm saying? Win-win. You, on the other hand, turned it into straight up the secretary.
Here's the version of Wolf 10 Media's version. At the very end, she could say, "Thank you, Chris. I had a wonderful time." And he said, "Me too. I'll never forget this moment." As soon as the door closes, Evans is walking away. You just see the sad look on his face. He's sad the day's over.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be wholesome.
Yes, that's it.
Well, subsequently we went from. I was going to say, subsequently we go right into Secret Invasion, and then from there, there's like a few more miniseries that involve House of M. There's like a small Spider-Verse stint where we are introduced to Superior Spider-Man.
It also plays a significant role in Civil War. Because and then didn't get involved in the Registration Act.
Right.
And then we go into Secret Wars 2015, and that's where all the amalgamations of all the wokeness have now started to like embed themselves. So
sow the seeds, if you will.
Yeah. Well, okay, it started with Miles Morales, which is fine and cool, whatever. I mean, I never had a problem with the character. I thought it was a okay character. Never thought it was the greatest character. I think that character actually got more layered.
And this is why this is the fun stream, Brian Gill Martin.
Because
sorry, I didn't mean to cut in on you like that, Trooper.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, so yeah, that's how we ended up with the movie that we got with Into the Spider-Verse, because a lot of those elements went into Homecoming. So now you kind of have to do something with the character. Okay, don't fall in. So, but there was a post here that had to do with I think it was pro wrestling, WWE, WCW, ECW, ROH, AEW, TNA. I said Glow because
let's not forget the other initials, CBD, DCE, the NF, just all these initials. That's what killed me.
Yeah. But no, I mean, as far as fun topics, gosh, I mean, that was probably one of the few shows in terms of once we start talking quote unquote pro wrestling, which I thought was short lived and definitely needed more fun. Like I do remember bits and pieces of Glow, and you couldn't do that now. There was no way you can do that now. Do you mean
Trooper? Do you mean the Glow that the show was based on from back in the? I don't know if you remember, but I used to watch it. There was a Glow from back in the day. That the Netflix series was based on. But I do remember the Glow because I was a big fan of that show, and I did watch it. I had my fan favorites, so I know what you're talking about. So I get what you said. I wasn't totally in love with the show because I felt the show missed what that show from back in the day was about, and so I was a little upset that they didn't really create some of the famous lady wrestlers that were on there, So, but that's just. But go ahead and continue. But I see what you're saying. But I was let down.
yeah, that show is based on an older show, and that particular time in history, you had shows like Roller Games. You also had shows like what is it? What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Gladiator, American
Yeah,
Gladiator.
the
So
American Gladiators. Yeah.
yeah, so that was a unique time in history where technically that could be called a precursor to reality TV, because reality TV is not based in any real reality. But
Reality is
uh,
often disappointing.
yeah, but to kind of tie up House of M, I mean, more or less, it's your Elysium. You get what you want, and at the very end of it, we're not going. I don't know if we're going there with the MCU. I think they want to push past that to get to Secret Invasion, but my whole thing is why. I like, I look at a lot of those films that in terms of the timeline for this next phase, and they don't make any sense to me. They sound to be almost all completely
I agree
standalone
with
for
you.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
to me,
Well, see, Trooper, I agree with you. I don't think they're going to do House of M. What they're doing is they're skipping over a whole lot of storyline to get to the woke portion of Marvel, the part of Marvel that started to bankrupt the comics. And and
mm,
and that's what I like to call it. That's what they're jumping to. They're jumping over everything you're saying. They're skipping over that. Oh, they call it the all new Marvel, or I call it the politically woke Marvel. When
yeah,
they
yeah.
started making,
And all I'm saying to this is, long live the
I'm,
first
tri-
10 of Marvel.
I'm tripping off of Matt Newey's comment there. He says, "Wait, this is supposed to be fun. I might want to leave then." Hey,
Okay, uh,
okay,
nobody's sticking a
how's
gun
it
to your
go?
head, fool.
I was just,
How's it
I
go?
think it was
Change to the
because
station. Change to the
I
station.
think it was
Change the
the Evans
channel.
talk that did it.
What happened?
I think it was the
But
Evans talk that did it.
It
oh
was.
yes,
so
yes.
yeah, so I mean, yeah, so I mean, in terms of what we're getting, I mean, we're getting the Eternals, we're getting the Marvelettes, we're getting.
Yeah,
uh
we're getting
I
Black
mean,
Cap.
well, is he
Uh,
getting a film? I don't think he's getting a film, is he? Like,
No,
I
he's
don't. I
not
don't.
getting a film. He's getting another season.
Obviously.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
what else? We're also getting Wakanda Forever and Guardians 3.
Ugh.
I'm like that. That to me, I don't see. I don't see what the big bad in that is. Like, I don't see
Well, they're cutting
who the
Russell
next.
Crowe, so I'm guessing the third Guardians may not be totally bad.
well, the
Well,
thing is,
they're all going to be old by then. Like,
yeah,
that's
you're gonna
my
get
whole
also.
point. Is
And Batista has even gone on record to say that he's probably not going to do another Guardians movie after the third one.
I don't think there'll be another one after the third one because I agree with Trooper. The way they're going now, story wise, doesn't make any sense except the fact, and a lot of people don't want to believe this, but I think a lot of these movies are more about pushing agenda than telling a good story. So I think, and that's what I'm seeing here. Is it's not about telling a good story; it's about pushing an agenda. Like
oh
I
well, yeah,
said, they're skipping over a lot of because for Secret Wars, Bucky was your Captain America, and they
yeah,
skipped
yeah.
over that. They've totally jumped past all of his. Yeah, it didn't last long, but it was a nice arc until they brought Steve back. And the reason they brought Steve back is because the Bucky as Cap and the Sam as Cap issues were not selling. They wanted Steve Rogers back, but they're skipping over so many storylines really for one reason only, and that is all about agenda. That's
Mhm.
why like Trooper, I feel like the direction they're going makes no sense. It's just really not about making good movies or telling stories. It's about pushing an agenda. That's all they do. That's why we're getting all these multiverses and triple verses and triple bi verses and this verse and that verse and all this stuff is because they 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 want to do what they want and push it off on the fans to accept it. That's
Well,
why a
the
lot of
fandom is also aging out too. I mean, they're
right,
literally targeting all this to a younger audience. So,
right.
and that younger
Well,
audience happens to be
that's the
15 to
problem, though.
25.
If the older
So,
fans though are getting phased out, though, this young impressionable fandom is going to look to the old fandom for guidance, and they're gonna, it'll be
no, they're
watered
not,
down.
because here's where I have to push back on that particular point, because they're not. I mean, look at how isolationists they tend to be within their own target demographic. I mean, we're
They always want to be
talking
in the it crowd.
about, yeah, we're talking about the pink scalps. Like you don't deviate outside of your safe space. If you do, you become part of the out crowd. But
that's
I mean, in
sad
terms
because they're saying stuff like that. That's the same as saying we stay with our own side. We don't mix.
oh,
And I'm
it's,
like,
it's
wow.
it's Lord of
Oh
the
my
Flies,
God.
dude.
I'm
It's
like,
Lord
oh
of the
my God. I'm like, oh dear God. Oh dear God, it's happening. I didn't think it would happen in my lifetime, but we are regressing. You hear
I mean,
about
it is going to be Lord of the Flies.
You think it's not going to happen here, and then one day you discover, oh my God, there it is.
You guys bring up some interesting talks, but I want to bring up the fact that today on Twitter of all places, what?
What?
Mama.
On.
No, what I was gonna say was I was on Twitter recently, just now,
Ew, why
and they
would
and they
you
and
subject yourself to that? That sucks
because
your
I gotta take
soul.
because I'm the Wolf Commander, I always gotta take one for the team to make sure everybody's on the up and up of what happened on Twitter.
And for that, I salute you.
Anyways,
Right.
what I was gonna say was there was this tweet. They brought it's the same situation when they bring up the whole Superman is Clark a black Negro Clark Kent.
No.
Mhm.
Thank you, Brain, for working with me for once with my
Oh,
mouth.
goodness.
Anyways, the whole situation with Negro Clark Kent, right?
Mhm.
Some tweeter brought up John Henry Irons, aka Steel, but they brought up Idris Elba, and I'm just like, bruh, why is every time when y'all bring up a black superhero, y'all always want to use Idris Elba? Always
Cause
Idris
he's
Elba.
cool. He's cool.
Look,
I
I
like
get it.
Idris Elba. I
Look,
like them as
Star
Shere Khan. Well, to
Man,
Well,
fuck that shit.
because he's Black Superman. Don't you remember in Hobbs and Shaw? He said he's Black Superman.
he
That's
would
funny.
be the dude to do the dude. He would be the dude.
And what was
Like,
it? John Henry Irons sought to replace him as Superman when he fell. So I just thought that was an interest. So maybe that's the connection.
yeah.
Anyways,
Well,
what I was saying was, sorry, what I was gonna say was, is that they bring up Idris Elba, and I chimed in with by adding my own candidates, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I pull up Bushmaster from Luke Cage season 2. I pull up
I said, oh, he'd be good.
I think his name was Malik. Think it was name. Y'all look him up. Bushmaster from season 2 of Luke Cage. I brought up
You're gonna make me
I
think.
want to say his name, but he was Black Manta from the Aquaman movie.
Oh,
Brought
okay.
him up,
Yeah.
and Mac from Agents of Shield, who, by the way, is of good stature to play John Henry Irons. That man is gargantuan, and he got the bald head to fit it, and he got the winning smile personality to fit. Bruh, every time I
What,
saw Mac,
you don't want Mahershala Ali to
fuck
be your
no.
new Clark
This dude's-
to be your Clark Kent?
I'm sorry to be crass and vulgar, guys. This is, and on the precipice of another week until my birthday. I'm getting all rowdy lately. In one more week, my birthday come up. Man, I'm getting rowdy.
Michael B. Jordan's
I
gonna
should
show
not be
up.
this
He's gonna
rowdy,
be like, "Hi, auntie. Hi, auntie."
man.
Oh wait, this
Man,
this Metropolis.
I'm gonna be I'm gonna be my own worst enemy if Sound Grade was is gonna be if
Your
I'm gonna be
mom
on.
is my mom's name too.
No, but anyways, the one who I really would cast to be John Henry Irons specifically would be Mac, mostly because I every time I look at Mac from Agents of Shield, I'm like, bruh, that's John Henry Irons right there. Man got a shotgun axe anyways, and he wielded like it's a freaking sledgehammer, and the dude big. John Henry Irons big. The dude already bald, so we got that covered already. We don't need to shave his head now, unless he grew it out somehow. What the hell? Sammy Proctor says, "What was that voice, Trooper?" Oh,
That was
he was voicing Batfleck.
yeah, that was Batfleck. Your mom is my mom's name too. I was like, really? I'm like, why am I still here? Why am I still here? And then Gal Gadot jumps on screen. I was like, wow, all this for the last 20 minutes. I could have just like come in the last 20 minutes. That
And
would
the
have been the
last
best.
20 minutes is
That was the best part of the whole film. I was like,
yeah.
holy moly!
Everybody cheered. Everybody cheered in my theory when she popped in.
Well,
Because they were
my
rooting for her.
first reaction, I liked it, but my first reaction was, why is he retelling 300 again? Like that was my first reaction. And then
Oh,
as the
wow.
fight progressed, I was like, okay, I like this. This is more of this to me is more DC, AU than it is like cinematic, so
Right.
but
But
yeah,
what I was gonna say was,
that's been my whole critique on freaking Snyder the whole time is he literally 300 was probably to me anyway, his most successful film production wise, and he's just been telling that story ever since. So, but
I'm
Those are the
gonna
movies
post
he should be
Mac
doing.
real quick in the comments section so you guys can y'all make the call whether or not y'all think he'd be a good fit for Steel.
Well, for me, bottom line, and I'm going to be straight up honest here, I don't need a black Superman. I don't need a black version of Clark Kent. To me, Superman
That's
is and always will be
that.
Kal-El, will always be Kal-El
Jeez.
and Clark Kent.
mhm.
Captain America is Steve Rogers. Spider-Man is Peter Parker. I don't need black versions of these established characters. So to me there's no reason to make it. I don't need another Superman in another
There you
universe
go,
who's
guys.
black.
Well,
Come
I
up
agree
or
with what
pick
you're.
up the characters that hold on, Scooty, and then I'll let you come in. If you want to do character diversity, go for the ones which we know they won't do because they don't find them valid, but do the ones that are original, like Jon Stewart. I would love a Green Lantern movie with Jon Stewart. I like that character. That's what I want to see.
I have
But
shared
no,
Mac in the
all it.
comments. I'm sorry, Leia. I don't mean to
Mhm.
cut into you like that, but I shared Mac in the comments and private comment. Tell me that don't look like I'm just saying. Tell me that don't look like John Henry Irons, aka Steel.
I was
I
gonna
can see
say,
it.
I was gonna say,
I can see it.
Black
Yeah, I can see it.
Batman, but
Bruh,
you beat me to it.
I'm
So.
look at this point. Look, I don't care if the motherfucker not dark skinned. All right, he a brother, and he a winning brother at that. Okay, the
Everybody
man
likes
got a
the
winning
winner.
smile. I'm just saying, when he smiles, you warm up.
Yep.
When he mad, you know shit's about to go down.
Yep.
Mhm.
And give him a daughter. Give that man. I don't care what anybody say. Still ain't got no daughter. I don't care. He a dad now. He a dad now. You mess with his daughter. Oh, you gonna get the hammer. Wait, he does have a daughter now in the comments, right? Yeah,
He
he
could replace
does.
the Rock. He could replace the Rock for
I
Black
don't need the
Panther.
Rock. Nah, Rock ain't gonna be no Steel. He fine as Black Adam. He look Egyptian enough. He played an Acadian. Hey, he played an Acadian.
Hmm.
He look Egyptian
Um,
enough. He got the right skin color.
What about the one actor who was in the first Guardians of the Galaxy? I think his name was Jimin Hansu. I think
Yeah.
Jimmy,
Jimmy
Yes,
Simon.
yeah,
yes.
he's the
J-
one
Mhm.
who
Yeah.
said, "I'm
Oh, he's been
Star
around
Lord," and
forever.
he
He's
goes,
awesome.
"Who?"
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Yeah,
I
no,
know what you're talking about.
I can see
yeah,
him playing Steel.
Nah,
he was in.
nah.
Wasn't he in Stargate also? Like he's done so many films.
Yep.
Like
He's in Stargate. He's in.
Yeah, he was in Stargate. The first,
yeah,
the
like,
movie, the movie.
Yeah.
Yes, he was the
yeah, and then
gladiator.
he was also in what Shazam? Yeah,
Yep,
Was
he was the wizard. He was the
Oh
wizard.
my God!
Uh,
He was
Tomb
Wizard
Raider.
in
Say
Oh
my
yeah, he was
name.
Tomb Raider.
Shazam.
Silence. No I'm kidding. Yeah,
Shazam?
Leia was right. Tomb Raider 2,
Yeah.
the Jolie movie, Tomb Raider 2. He was also in Blood Diamond, his most famous work.
That's not getting remade.
Second, yeah, second only to Amistad because he was in that one too. He was the main
Yeah.
character in Amistad. He's that
Janet
that man too
Jackson
old.
video.
I
Oh
can see
Janet
him
wow.
Jackson
playing.
video.
I think we're having more fun in the chat, laughing at each other. So
Well, I did suggest that they come up with topics. Bruh, are we so distracted
hey,
that you guys can't think of a
I
topic?
was just
I'm
sitting
sure there's.
here, and I had to be a toxic male and defend Wanda's honor. So
Hey man, I ain't in that. No, don't let me in that one. Like I didn't watch the show, so
what, Liz
I'm absolved
Olsen?
from
Oh
from
my
that from
gosh,
that
dude,
conversation.
she's a total smash, total smash.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
More so than
freaking
her sisters. Now,
like, was it in the fact that she was in a kaiju film? I'm good for that. I'm good for Godzilla. I mean, she was in it, here and there, but I mean,
yeah.
near
I think
case
it's
in
kind of
point.
funny that the actor who played her husband also played her brother.
Yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
It's
I was
like
like, oh, I'm like, that's
doing
I'm like,
Avengers.
that's just. I was like, that's a multiverse right
Well,
there. So
don't think too much on that, guys. Don't think too hard on that. You're gonna triple yourselves.
I was just
hey,
asking.
that's how. Hey, a job's a job, man. Freaking, if you're getting
Yeah.
I still love it though that the fact that Kick-Ass was in Avengers: Age of Ultron.
in, do whatever. Hey, you
I'm
got
talking
to
about the fact that
here's-
Zordon was
like-
in a Godzilla film.
What was it? It was
I was just going
what
to
was it?
say,
William Shatner freaking did. Go ahead, Leia.
no, I was going to triple back to when you were discussing WandaVision. And I was just going to say that
Yeah.
Trooper, you and Scooney, the show you were describing when you were going into your conversation about the plot, that's the show we should have got, but we didn't get because one, we had an incompetent writer that did not read the House of M, that was only hired because they liked her politics, and we just got a very whose only vision was basically to just push. Again, I want to keep bringing up this is a fun stream, but I can't help but to notice that a lot of this was agenda driven. I don't buy that BS that
Remember what I said
if
earlier,
Doctor
guys? It's
Strange,
free for all. I mean, you can talk whatever you want.
Yeah.
No restrictions.
I don't
So talk
I
about
don't
hate,
believe
talk about love, all you can.
I don't believe the way you guys were describing it was the show we should have got, but we didn't get. I don't believe that BS that if Doctor Strange
Yeah.
showed up and took away from Wanda, that's garbage fodder because you've got other Avengers appear in other films and it does not take away from it. So that's just a dumb, stupid excuse for them not
From
to
what I
basically say.
heard, from what I heard about that line, especially what they're saying about Doctor Strange, I'm like, so basically you're against friends coming in to support each other, no matter what the gender or
Precisely.
race it is.
No, honestly,
Right.
I thought that
Yeah, because couldn't Doctor
honestly, I
Strange have
thought
said,
that
"I'm
was
not
just to win points.
exactly."
That was
I mean,
honestly,
why
to
would
me
anybody
personally, that was
just
just to win points because
Hang on, guys, you crisscrossing.
you're already telling me that you want to hire another MCU actor, and they're not necessarily cheap. Let's be real about that. So the fact that you did maybe like a hat tip to Doctor Strange when we got that scene at the door and Wanda opens it and it happens to be Pietro instead, because everyone was speculating it might be Cumberbatch and it wasn't. Well, I was like, well, that's fine. You got a hat tip to Doctor Strange, and it ends up being Quicksilver, which is fine. But
But it wasn't a
just to make a real. Well, I was going to go ahead and just make one point.
Go ahead.
When it came to the kaiju films and Elizabeth Olsen and taking a job, that when William Shatner ended up co-writing a book with Chris Regan, and it was called Shatner Rules: Your Guide to Understanding the Shatnerverse and the World at Large. And the thing that he said in that book, because I have that on my shelf, is he said he has never turned down a job. And whether you're pro Shatner or not, and if you're like Team Nimoy or Team George Takei, whatever, out of all those actors from the original series, Shatner never turned down a job, and that's why he's always had work. And I personally believe it. Like, you have to have that type of work ethic where if someone is willing to approach you to do something, yeah, sure, yeah, I'll do it. I mean, heck, I think we got a few traveling commercials out of
Jackson comes
Shatner
right off
for
the
that.
top of my head. Samuel Jackson does that.
Yeah. So you have to be open to being able to take what's offered. I mean, granted, you got to look at the script a little bit.
Denzel is special like that.
Yeah. So I mean,
you hardly ever saw him in almost everything.
You can't
but
be.
when you
can't be
it's
so
amazing.
big. You can't be so big in Hollywood to the point where it costs people to hire you for a few seconds. And that's how I saw this whole thing transpiring with, Doctor Strange and stuff like that. I was like, you can't have
like
so
Linda
many
Carter
people.
in Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah, because you're having to pay them because now they have leverage to come back and say, hey, you want me in this for like 2 minutes?
They're fucking DeviantArt.
It's like, you're
Fuck me.
gonna have to pay me.
I'm seeing jumping spiders all over
the fact that they
losing my shit for jumping spiders. I don't even scare easy when it comes to jumping. I'm sorry. I'm looking at images on DeviantArt and the fucking. Whew.
But what I was getting at
immediately clicks onto a tarantula, and I'm like, "That's not a tarantula. That's not a tarantula."
That whole
scaring the crap out of me. I'm sorry, guys.
That whole comment with Doctor Strange was so after the fact. I mean, had that actually come out like during the actual run of the show, I would have actually believed it. But because it was so after the fact, that's something that you could tack on later. Oh, well, we didn't have him because we didn't want another male, explaining Wanda, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, that tells me that you found a creative way to answer a question that you more or less were prepared to answer. That's what that tells me.
You have the perfect dodge question that is also doubles as your shield if somebody criticizes you.
Yeah, because I mean, technically these two projects are going to be more or less intertwined, because going back to the first question, Wanda never actually was not able to form any real actual attachments. And if we go by the MCU, so far it's just been both of her sons that she still has a connection to. And that just leads us into the multiverse of madness.
Well,
we don't know anything about Mephisto or anything about that, because that's Sony. That's all Sony. We can't use that. So I don't know what they're going to do.
I disagree. I mean, you can have Mephisto, but you just don't have to call him Mephisto.
You could call him Satan.
Yeah. Call him, yeah, exactly.
True. The problem is it's a Sony thing. It's like, how much is Sony going to let you get away with?
Hang on.
Like,
Everybody's
we had the similar situation with Homecoming. Yeah, no, we had the whole situation with Homecoming where you had MJ, but you couldn't have her likeness, or you couldn't use the name Mary Jane, so you came up with Michelle. You could get away with what was it? There were a whole bunch of elements within that film. Okay, like as far as you couldn't use Tony Stark, but you could use Mr. Stark. You couldn't necessarily use any of the actual proper suits. You ended up getting a dummy suit. So like it all comes down to licensing. So, and we all know Disney doesn't like cheapening out in terms of, capitulating. They want to do what they want to do. That's why they're getting ready to more or less blow the EU out of the water. I mean, look at what it took for Scooter and I to get a copy of Heart of the Jedi before, allegedly, I'll say allegedly on the stream. It allegedly ended up in our hands, but look at what's happening right now. Like, you have, again, a mega corporation who doesn't like the fact that there's still remnants of the old fandom out there that are willing to buy these products. They don't want to market to us anymore. They don't want to have to deal with royalties. They don't want to have to deal with what costs, in terms of creating good stories, because creating good stories costs money, because I mean that's how it was written in the contract. So they want to go the easiest way possible. So,
and not only that, when they start trying to put barriers up and around the fandom, the new fans start saying, well, how long before they start gunning for us, or how long before they start mocking us? And that's why they're buying more. Like, well, it seems like older fans are going more in this direction. Let's see what they got over here. Wow, look at all this cool stuff.
Trooper, I want to go back to the Doctor Strange comment. I see what you're saying, and I do feel that may be a point in it, but I don't agree that's the only thing. I do think that there is some political motivations for the reason for Strange not being in there. When they first, before WandaVision aired, they had announced there was going to be a Doctor Strange 2, The Multiverse of Madness. And Wanda, from their words, was supposed to be the supposedly villain or something Doctor Strange has had to
He was
face.
going to be
So,
involved in some capacity.
yeah, in some capacity. So to me,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have hurt it if in somehow his presence was felt in the show. The idea was, the commercials that were shown in between the scenes in WandaVision, that was Doctor Strange trying to connect to Wanda through the commercials. I liked that idea, and it made logical
That would have
story-wise
been
sense.
exactly. It would have been beautiful. Which is why
You wouldn't even have to put him in a suit. Just put him in a suit.
Right.
Exactly. It could even be great too. It's like that one Super Bowl where that guy from Stranger Things was saying, "Oh yeah, that's right, it's a Tide ad."
Right. Yeah. So you could have had him maybe. He could have maybe.
Wanda, wake up.
That's exactly
get
what he
to
was going
Sam
to do.
Proctor. Hang on, guys. You crisscrossing again.
Even to get to Sam Proctor. Even in Far From Home, okay, like MJ is not Mary Jane in Far From Home. It's a completely separate character. That's what I'm getting at. In terms of licensing issues, the fact that we got Zendaya to be MJ, this is Sony saying, yes, you can refer to this character as MJ, but she can't be a redhead or be in the likeness of Mary Jane. So
because she's problematic.
I mean,
point out
well,
too,
not that she's problematic.
I agree. I agree, Wolf. There's still some political overtone.
Well, it more or less has to do with the fact that it's like, okay, how much of our IP is going to be monetized by Marvel? We're only willing to go ahead and do this much. In terms of the Doctor Strange thing, what I would have more or less thought logically is somehow you have to keep the D+ content separate from the MCU content, alluding to that they're all connected. So you can do certain things with it, you can't do certain things with it. How much is in the budget? I mean, technically these were all, budget films. I mean, they could have easily passed off for a film as opposed to a 6, 8, 9 episode arc. So, because I mean, in total we got close to 3 hours. So yeah,
as the trooper makes his point, Leia, you go next.
But go ahead. I have to step away for a second. So.
Well, I was going to say, I'm going to stick to the Doctor Strange point. I still feel that there is political overtones now in the MCU. I don't think everything is just, this is just the story, or we couldn't get this particular character. Even going back to what Trooper said about, the reason that they said, gotta take it down, we're giving Trooper a headache. The reason that we didn't have strangers because we couldn't allude to. Now that may be part of it, but I don't think it's 100%. There is wokeism in the MCU, and I think a lot of their choices and decisions are not creative decisions. Feige has drunk the woke juice. It's invasion of the woke snatchers. So now he's become one of the woke people, and his mind is now the audience to please is the Twitter mob, not the Marvel fans, not the fans that we've had for so long.
Break.
Oh,
I'm back. I do have coffee too. So.
Oh, okay.
I do agree with Leia plus guys that I feel that they are now appealing to the loudest voice, and with the whole, like what Trooper was saying with IPs and look at how well it's trending on Twitter as they're now using as their statistics. They're like saying clearly we're in the right direction.
And and I agree with Scooney. That's what they're looking at, and that's why they're making the decisions that they're making. I still feel that even though Doctor Strange is popular, their thinking was, this white male is more popular than Wanda, or he's getting attention. Oh my God, we can't have that. But Monica Rambeau is okay because she's a black female, and all the black females really like that.
Technically, that argument is moot. That argument is moot because then we wouldn't have a Vision character to begin with. It would just be all about Wanda. So there wouldn't be any Vision at all. Maybe like memories of Vision, but we wouldn't see Vision as a character.
But in a way,
technically, that kind of did happen in the Hanks, in a way.
Yeah, in a way, it really didn't get a lot of Vision as the show progressed. His arc really didn't go anywhere, as far as I was concerned. There wasn't much for
Well,
for him to really do.
What else were they going to do? I mean, they could have gone into more of a Stranger Things type arc, but I mean, we're talking about more money than they're willing to
some
sell
part
out.
of me,
So,
some part of me believes that we would have got the same treatment, even if they made Doctor Strange black for whatever
but here's my
galling reason they
thing.
would.
Here's my thing.
Yeah.
Like, once you start looking for woke, you're always going to find it. That's why these people have so much leverage, because you can assume one thing and then go ahead and dress it up as something completely different. In terms of where the show was shot versus where the actor is, I mean, do they really want to spend the money? And, how much is it going to cost them already on top of the current contract? Now, I'm not saying one way or the other, but what I am saying is look at how many characters they got in, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Same amount, probably 3 or 4. So, I mean, yeah. So yeah, you had Wanda, you had Vision, you had Quicksilver, and you had Monica Rambeau. Heck, you even had what's his face from Ant-Man. So I mean, you already had a cast, and then of course you got Darcy.
Don't forget we're gonna get Loki.
I mean,
so
can we keep adding to that budget?
It's
well, you don't have
to. I hear what you're saying. It's like, let's instead build a micro universe that's somehow going to tie into the major themes of Phase 4, but there's no plan for Phase 4, and your little micro universe that you created has these very generic characters that have no memorability whatsoever.
And it's the same thing with Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's like the characters literally start and end at the same point. They just make a PSA, if you will. So,
and that's really why I think that.
Leia, go ahead. Sorry,
I'm not doubting that. I think you have a point there. I'm not going to totally rule that out. I still feel that if you wanted Strange, you could have had him. You didn't have to need him for all 9 episodes, but maybe one episode or one appearance of some kind, just like he appeared at the end in his film. At the end of his film, in the post credits, he's in a scene with Thor. So, and then you also have Strange at the beginning of Thor of Ragnarok. You had a scene with Thor. So that is how you could have done WandaVision. And that would have said what it needed to say, and it would have moved on. It wouldn't have taken away from her, because in Thor's movie, it didn't take away from it.
I'm still tripping off Matthew's comment right here. He's saying, well, since this is supposed to be a fun stream, and I'm anything but I'm out, bruh, come on now. Come on, buddy.
Okay,
come on. Buddy.
We'll catch you in the next one, bro. So
nah. I'm not accepting that. Nah. I'm not accepting that, Maddie. I really am not accepting that. You like, bruh. You really need to stop selling yourself short. You really need to stop doing that. Come on, lighten up. You is fun.
So case in point, with all this kind of stuff, it all comes down to where they're going to go with it and who's in charge. So we've got Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy on the Star Wars side, Kevin Feige on the MCU side. You have Favreau and Filoni on the D+ side. I don't honestly know who's directly over.
Hang on, Trooper.
But here's the thing. Here's the
Schooner. I said your name mixed up. I meant Schooner. Keep going, Trooper. If you still got anything to add.
No.
All right, Schooner, go ahead.
I'm just saying that there is a hope, though. I mean, there's us on our streams. I mean, right now we got a better. We have a better WandaVision right now that we're talking about. I think that's there's hope. I mean, not maybe in the studios, but definitely independent creators. This is, this is our time to shine.
At this point, it's anybody's ball game, so long as you're willing to commit.
I mean, right now, I love the
here's
idea.
The thing,
here's the thing that we could have done in WandaVision too, is that so anybody who enters Wanda's little bubble could be, gets their perfect paradise. Hence, we can see the conflict in almost everybody. Doctor Strange could maybe come in for a handful of sequences, like he shows up, of course, like what Leia Plus Size was saying, in those commercials. And then he comes in guest spot. Then at the very end of maybe a climax season, it's like, oh, look who's coming to stay. It's Uncle Randy. Like he moved on from guest spot to recurring character, and then finally he gets close and like, and every time they're doing the intros for WandaVision and all of those like cheesy intros, you could have Doctor Strange trying to run to Wanda, but he keeps getting interrupted because he's thrown in another scene.
Yeah, see, that's, and then
and then when they finally say, look who's coming to stay with us forever now, it's Uncle Randy. And that's right when he grabs Wanda. And I always had this interesting idea of when he grabs Wanda, there's a brief static flash and there's a blink and you'll miss it moment when they're back in the real world.
And that, if I can may say, and see, Scooney, I like that, because then you can take that, roll that into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Now you got your link story-wise in there. That all connects, and that's how you connect into the Multiverse of Madness. And then you can see why everything goes wonky in other universes, because now these two have clashed in there, and you have her trying to keep the reality the way it is, but he's trying to pull her out of it. And then also, that's also how you can open the door, and I will continue to say this, that's how you can open the door to maybe letting in the mutants or a few X-Men, because Professor X or Jean or the psychic or the X-Men that have the abilities to know something isn't right in the universe because something is open, then you can roll them in there. And then you can start to connect them. And now you've got the cues, because now Marvel has the rights to the X-Men. So with those little pieces, you could start wheeling, because in the comics, everybody knows she has a connection. I think she's more connected to the X-Men, the Avengers, but that's just me. But now you find a way to connect them into it, and everything can start to function in as you move into the next phase with these multiverses. So creatively wise and cognitive wise and story wise, that would have worked better, but that's not how they're thinking now. From my point of view, their mind is thinking, I still feel that there's still some political advantage, more about who can we get to shine more than what makes sense story wise.
And it even could work too for the, and if they wanted that, you can still even get that too. Like the character, like for example, I keep saying this, we can really make Monica Rambeau something. She goes into that universe and we show her perfect paradise, and she's tapped by Strange or somebody else who's in there, maybe the bad guy, who says that, hey, does any of this seem a little fishy to you? And it's revealed that, we see that Monica Rambeau is conflicted because what she has here is her idyllic life. And she says, can I give this up if I want to get back to everything that needs to put everything back the way it was? And she resolves to do so because she made an oath. She's a soldier. She said that she will fight just like, the Avengers and everybody else. And they're saying, and then have her go to Wanda, or maybe help out in whatever Doctor Strange is trying to do to wake Wanda up. In fact, after he grabs Wanda and shows her the truth of herself, Wanda just or Agatha Harkness, if you want to, just says, no spoilers, and just throws him out. And then Doctor Strange's little cameo in WandaVision is done, signed, sealed, delivered. So now all hope falls on Monica Rambeau, who can slip past these sorcerers or bad guys, these magicians inside Wanda's realm, because she's not magic-based. So she can get to Wanda. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. And that makes a lot more sense. And if you want to bring in the other Marvelettes, if you want to try to do that or something, I don't know. We don't want to see the other ones. You could that's the way how you could bring those characters in there by using Rambeau. Maybe in the universe, Monica Rambeau she's the only Miss Marvel. Maybe in that world she is the only one, and then finds out that there were when she goes into that breathes life to several others. So that's how you connect everything, and the story wise, everything makes sense, and then you can put your phase 4 together on that notion itself. So yeah, exactly. And so that's how everybody would get a shot in there.
WandaVision is the catalyst for what will phase 4 ultimately be. because you can have Agatha Harkness and even Mephistopheles, but you don't have to call him Mephistopheles or something like that.
Right. You can
Instead,
come up with another name.
you can call him a completely different name, but they're inside WandaVision's little universe and they're not anybody who tries to go in to get to Wanda, they keep pushing out of the bubble or kill inside the show. No, they say you're written out because this is creating chaos and they want the chaos.
Exactly.
I'm gonna use this time to read some of the comments since we're getting into the half hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll dig into what they suggest as well. But I want to highlight this one. He said, from Sam Project says, Wolf's mind went Dr. William Moulton Marston territory. For those who are not in the know, that's the original creator of Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Hey, I ain't into that polygamy, man, and polyamory. I'm already having trouble satisfying one woman.
That wasn't. Never mind.
What?
No,
Let's not go there. Let's not make it that extreme.
I'm just saying that like a little bit of history of back when I worked at the hotel. We have a lot of Filipino women. They always trying to matchmake me with their sisters, their daughters, their cousins. And I'm like, all right, got a Filipino wife. They're like, yeah, but you can have another one. You know, you can marry more than one. I'm like, no. I ain't doing all that polygamy stuff or that polyamory stuff. I'm not having trouble satisfying her. What makes you think I'm gonna satisfy another one? And then on top of that, they're gonna fight each other. And then I'm gonna get killed after all that fighting. I'm the one who get killed.
Two may enter, one may leave.
What happened?
I can picture the wolf pack right now. He's sitting there just like going, oh, how did it come to this? While over him are a whole bunch of omegas and betas just yelling at each other.
Like a bunch of harpies.
Yep.
All right, Dominic Powell did.
Oh, is there mud involved?
There is a lot of blood involved, but Sonny Oakley had led the charge.
Mud.
He had led the
Mud
charge.
or Jello, either one.
So, oh my God! You're talking about the cat fight, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here's Samuel Lee Olake's topic suggestion. He says, best horror stories you have read, not movies or comics. That's gonna be a tough one because I haven't read any horror books aside from Jurassic Park. That's my best one so far, even though it's not considered as horror as one would think.
I guess you could say the one that I always seem to go back to is, it's kind of a cheap one because everybody said, oh, well, it's one of his most famous works, so obviously. But I always go back to The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. For me, I have not read a horror book since I finished Anne Rice's vampire trilogy, and she recently released a new one called The Princess That, which I just finished reading, which is actually very good. Princess That is like the king of his kind now, but outside of that, I honestly cannot answer because I haven't read a really good spooky book in a while.
Stories to tell at night.
No, I haven't read that in a while. Did they publish some brand new ones? There was some that I already read before, so I didn't want to go back
always re-releasing those books.
So if they've got some new ones, I'll be more than happy to read some new stuff. I'd be really happy to read it. I just haven't read any new ones lately. They have had some, but I read some of them already. So I was waiting for something new to come out.
I also have this. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Leia.
So I'm about finished. I said mostly for me, it's been a lot of people don't like Anne Rice's novels, but I'm a big fan of her Vampire Chronicles. I've always enjoyed those series of those books that she wrote.
So far, I have Interview, and I didn't get back into that. I have Interview with the Vampire, and I originally bought that for my mom for I think it was Mother's Day.
Birthing's Day.
This past Mother's Day?
No.
Oh.
This was before I even moved to San Diego. This was years before I moved to San Diego. I got her the novel and the movie, and she was very I guess she was kind of appreciative of the movie, but not so much the novel because she don't read.
Mhm.
And I was slow on the uptake on that one. I kind of felt bad slightly that I don't know my mom as well as I do, but I still enjoyed the book all the same. So I started reading I bought it, I read it, and
Mhm.
it's Anne Rice, and I heard she's good. So let me read what are the difference between the book and the movie are, and oh boy, there's a lot of differences.
Big, big differences. Yes.
The movie is marginally faithful
Hmm.
to the book, but there is a lot they left out.
Uh,
They
that,
left out quite a yes,
that's marginally
yes,
with a big M.
Yeah,
yes. I agree.
bruh, for
I
instance,
agree. I
they
agree.
met Claudia way quicker than they did in the book.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yes, they did. She actually aged to 62 or 65 in the book. I mean, she stayed a little girl, but mentally
Mm,
in vampire years,
yeah,
she matured to a 65-year-old woman.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was Kirsten's
Also, can
one of
we give
Kirsten Dunst's first
yeah,
gigs, if I remember right.
Kirsten done
yeah.
some excellent props for that one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I said when the movie was announced, I said whatever young actress gets that part is going to be a star because that's going to take a really talented young lady to understand that character. And I will give Kirsten Dunst massive props for understanding
It's one of those.
what Claudia was going through because people were at the time on film those that read the book were shocked. A child vampire, oh God. Oh, their children are not supposed to be vampires, but she did a good job understanding. I think that is one of the best things about the film is Dunst understanding the role, what that role required of her. So
Hmm.
Boy,
I
oh
gotta give
boy,
her masterpiece.
boy, oh boy, it was the first movie that I saw Bush before I saw Bush in Revenge of the Nerds. I think. Don't quote me on that.
But
I think that was the first movie I saw as a kid.
mhm.
Bush. I'm pretty sure there was many others, but that was the first. I'm gonna say that's the first. That, bruh. Somehow, I think I'm going to side with some of these yahoos that that tend to say that you shouldn't be watching this stuff in front of your kids. I'm inclined to somewhat, agree with them because I almost discovered myself watching an Interview with the Vampire. Almost through them biting scenes and feeding scenes. Oh my
Oh
goodness,
goodness! Oh
the way
goodness!
how they translated Anne Rice's description of how they fed on people, the sensations and stuff, they
Yeah,
did a good job.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
They,
That's
Mhm.
especially when they fed on that gypsy girl, or
mm,
was
Well,
she a
they
gypsy?
almost made it sound like, well, it was that how it was like this very interpersonal. What was it? Oh gosh, I just had the word and I lost it.
It's sex, man. It was
Yeah, that's
sex.
sexual.
basically what it was.
Yeah, it was a sexual swoon. She Rice said it herself in an interview that the way the vampire described it, or the way Louis would describe it when he's being interviewed, that was some sort of sexual gratification from drinking the blood of others. You know,
Hmm.
Mhm.
like
Well,
I
and
think
that was because there was subtle homosexual
Eroticism.
yeah,
eroticism in that.
in the
That
book, but they took it
yeah,
out in the movie.
and I gotta say that's the subtlety that almost you would never see today.
Oh no. They kept the homoeroticism in the movie.
Oh,
Antonio
don't worry.
Banderas.
You
They'll do a
couldn't
reboot.
make that
They'll do
movie.
a reboot.
It was very subtle. It was
Yeah.
It
very
was
subtle.
so
Yeah.
subtle you could never see them pulling that off again.
Freaking Kirsten Dunst spelled it out. He wants you all to himself.
Yep.
Well, actually, Antonio Banderas' character Armand was actually aged up. In the book, he's
Mm-hmm.
16, but
Yep.
he's 400 years old, but he's 16. But
Mm-hmm.
he was aged up in the film because I know for a fact that they
Because
probably
it's freaking Antonio Banderas.
yes.
Yes, it's Antonio
No,
Banderas.
no, no. They didn't want to cast no. Bruh, if they were able to cast Kirsten Dunst as a vampire, what makes you think they had no qualms casting a 16-year-old as a vampire? No, they had Antonio Banderas on board with this movie, so they're going to use him to the fullest. They gave him that wig.
Yes.
They permed up his face, powdered his lips, done did the whole shebang, bruh. I almost fell in love with that man watching him in that scene with the when he comes in on that play. When he comes in on that play and he embraced that naked girl, I'm like, oh my goodness. And when he looked at Louis, like, I'm like, oh my goodness, he looking at me like that? Oh no, buddy. I like girls, man. Wait, hang on. Let me look at him again. Okay. Especially when they had that meeting with him in that desk and stuff, and he birds was like, oh my goodness, y'all really want me to love this man, don't y'all? Well, I love him, but I ain't gonna love him like that. I mean, he'll be my friend. You know what I'm saying? He'll be my friend. But other than that, like, bro, he'll be the friend I admire because of his beauty. Like, bro,
See, this was a whole rabbit hole I had not anticipated going down.
This is a fun stream, man. Almost everything goes. Almost everything goes.
And all I
was
say, I don't have any horror novels. It's just I like horror film, but I don't do anything with horror novels. I mean, the closest thing I have is like Joe Schreiber's Red Harvest, and that's more gore than horror. So
exactly. All I'm saying is,
Trooper, quick suggestion. Look up, try to find Clive Barker's The Hellbound Heart. That's a real good. That's a good book.
The only other thing I ever read close to horror was The Langoliers, Stephen King, and I wasn't too like. I've always heard that when you read Stephen King, you have to read it, Stephen King with all the lights on, everything turned on, because you don't like what goes bump in the night. So, and I didn't get that reaction. I don't know.
For me,
read some of his older stuff.
Okay.
I think I dabbled in a few werewolf novels, like light novels. There's one book that had a bit of an anthology on horror. Something I always gravitate towards when I was in either middle school or high school. They would have books lying around on racks and stuff for some reason, other than just to get us to read. But I would just pick them up and, like, if I'm bored, and of course I was a bad kid. I didn't really do my work that much, and the class was boring. Of course, you got the bullies that distract you from learning. So I just go to a lonely desk and just start reading. And I happened upon this one book called The Talisman in high school, and I stole that one from my high school, and that was actually not too bad either. I'm afraid of reading it now because maybe my adult mind might pick up something. Pick up on something. That, of course, there is also the Amor books, which, jeez, that some of those episodes were almost born on horror with the way how Kay Applegate details the gore in Animorphs. Then of course there's.
But it's okay as long as you're talking about like either alien or animal gore.
Then of course there's the sugary cereal Goosebumps.
Oh god.
My favorite being the girl with the monster mask, the horror.
The haunted mask.
Thank you, haunted mask. That was. I actually got around to reading that. Oh my goodness! You thought the show the show version was creepy, bruh. The book is totally
the compared to the episode.
The episode don't hold a candle to the book, because I read that from beginning to end. Bruh. The only episode that actually creeped me out was Girl Who Cried Monster, and that's only because I actually felt pity for a tarantula in that episode.
Oh goodness!
And that's when the monster ate the tarantula from head to tail. Oh my goodness, that was that was rough to get through as a kid, especially when you didn't really especially when my fear of tarantula didn't really kick in till I guess when I got teenage, somewhat. I think that's the only time when my fear of tarantula started kicking in. I don't know. Again, I don't know where it came from. I was cool watching Prayers of the Wild, the giant tarantula. I was cool.
I I can see that. I've got a bit of a fear of spiders as well.
I was cool watching Arachnophobia.
Oh, you haven't seen some of these freaking desert spiders. They get huge, dude.
I don't want to be anywhere near desert spiders.
I was doing a patrol or something like that, and I actually came across one that got, I don't know what it was doing in town, but I saw one that was squished, and the thing was the size of a freaking like 12-week, 14-week puppy. Like it was big, dude. It was gross.
Where do these things reside?
In holes in dirt. But I just
like what state?
Oh, Vegas.
Okay, Las Vegas. Never going.
Yes, the People's Republic of Nevada. So.
Sorry, I'm making a note here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, my wife. Yeah, my wife wanted to visit. I'm like, nope, we're not going there now.
You're not missing anything right now. Like all your.
We're not missing anything, but I'm not going there now. You said spiders as big as a puppy.
You know, all your people from the land of Caitlin are coming here, so it's a little weird right now. So
that's probably why the spider activity then kicked up, because there's far too many people that probably don't even know how to handle them.
Okay, here's the crazy part. So all right, so Coof happens. You know, California does its thing. The armpit of California does its thing. So now the armpit of California is trying to open up. And they're having a hard time filling all these positions. Why? Because people are making more money sitting on their butt than actually going to work. So that's what we have going on right now. So, which I find very ironic, because I mean, I would think that as an individual, you want to kind of get out of the house and do something, go outside and experience nature, or find a way to do something in nature if that's what you want. Work with the Bureau of Land Management. Do whatever, but. No,
where are the entrepreneurs? I mean, the government is literally funding a private business here. So where are the entrepreneurs?
Yeah. Right.
This time is time of entrepreneurship and pioneering.
Yeah, yeah, and it's right now.
Now, all you gotta do is get a computer.
Yep. Right now is a good time to be a creator, whatever you want. If you want to go ahead and create something that takes displaces the vacuum of Superman, or
to me, it seemed like we went through a almost a prototype second Great Depression.
Well,
I saw it more because I choose to look at the positive thing. I'm like seeing a new era of the American Renaissance here.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a chance for that for sure.
You've got to see what a lot of people have been doing at home. I mean, the drawing, the art, or even
exercising.
The exercising and all this stuff. Yeah, not a lot of people are getting paid, but there's also videos out there and that say, "Hey, how to live on a small budget."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How to be creative in a non-creative setting. I'm like, this is like a new renaissance. This is a digital renaissance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, right now is a good time to be a creator of whatever you want to put your mind to, because and this is kind of what we were talking about, in the green room, as all these IPs begin to decline, it allows more opportunity for new IPs to shine. And it's really funny that we're kind of turning to manga now to get content.
Well, that's because manga is, like we said, the last real bastion of both creativity and just good fun. I mean, there's literally in manga a genre for anything now.
Well, well, that too. But I mean, we're also looking at the environment in which manga has been conceived. It's very ethnocentric. It's a monoculture, if you will, and that allows for that stuff to stay uniform, as opposed to, hey, I want my Latinx with stumps to be the next, to be the next Wonder Man, or I need America Chavez to look like me, and displace Steve Rogers and all that stuff. So,
well, I'm still gonna ask this one question though. It's like, okay, you want all this diversity, why don't you just create an original character for it? Because they're not popular enough. Well, they're not gonna get popular enough if you don't use them.
Well, that and
exactly.
it runs the risk of being criticized, and that's what a lot of people just do not handle well anymore. They don't like being criticized. They don't.
There's that C word that they don't like more so than the other C word that they don't like.
Yeah.
Okay, here's something. If you don't want to
Yeah.
be criticized, say nothing, do nothing, be nothing.
Yeah.
That's all
Dominic
I'm
Powell has a topic for us too that we can dig into. He says another future topic to discuss is relationships in fiction and where they are today. That can range from friendships to romance, monogamous, polyamorous, etc.
Okay, can I? I'd like to take that one first, Ben.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because I already know my stance on that.
It's gotten so bad right now that the Wolf Pen, when he was rambling back there about Antonio Banderas, and that if this were a TV show right now, and he had made that huge monologue, which is great, by the way, about why he's not attracted but finds the attraction, immediately shippers would say, Wolf Pen Media, gay character who is in denial.
Oh
Bitch,
yeah. Because you have to
Bitch,
have
I'm
the
a
queer
furry.
baiting. You have to have the queer baiting now. That's a thing.
Yes, or no, they don't even call it queer baiting. It's called queer coding. Or
Oh wow. Yeah.
No.
They always change the nicely. BS.
It went from queer coding to queer baiting because queer baiting sounded more negative.
Well, it's kind of like straight chasers. We know they're out there. Like, let's be real.
Wow.
And it's like
That's a word too.
You didn't know that? Well, I don't know. I mean, that's actually a good question. Now that we're in the fun talk,
Dude, I'm an old man living under a rock.
Bro, you don't mean to tell me that in the People's Republic of California, you never had some dude come up to you and be like, "Hey, Wolf Commander, so how about you and me go get 2 Cardassian sunsets?" You've never had that. You've never had.
I don't visit the bar, man. I don't go out to the club no more. The club done closed.
That's another problem that we're having with this thing is like everybody, they call it, like Trooper was saying, queer coding, queer baiting, but why can't we just
chasing super straight?
Yeah, and then there's this horrible thing right now though, is that nobody can be plutonic anymore. There's no such thing as platonic. Yeah. The only time they ever this is so screwed up. The only time nobody ever ships the main friends together anymore is if you gotta change their diversity. Make one color, one the other color, and they won't ship them. But if they're the same color or the same sex, they'll ship them immediately. I'm just like, oh my god! Really? Oh my god!
Well, just to kind of give people a little glimpse into what a day in the bubble of me is like. I only have a handful of friends. I don't tend to have for a while there, I had a lot of people as far as coworkers and stuff like that because of the nature of my job that I just have to talk to every day. But in terms of like best friends or close friends, I think one of the closer friends since I want to say since about freshman, sophomore year, high school, is a chick, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've grown up with this chick, never looked at her in any way that I would be like, yeah, I want to go ahead and propagate that. Right. Yeah. So there, for a brief moment, her and I ended up, working within the same work setting, and I will tell you, I mean, there is a difference between having actual friendships and then having relationships. And I had several people come up to me and they're like, are you guys going out? Or I'm like, no, she's just my friend. I actually even had people ask me like, are you two related? And I'm like, why? It's like, well, because you guys argue like brother and sister all the time. And if you were to actually watch this, that's all we do is squabble. Right. That's all we do is squabble. But I mean, it's like,
I kind of have that kind of relationship with my female friends, anyways.
Yeah. It's,
brother, I tend to treat them like if I'm older, they're my little sister. Yeah. And if they're bigger, then they're my bigger sister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, these are the type of relationships that are quote now considered problematic.
The ones that are, and that's deeming that problematic. Why? That's a good, healthy, natural
Because
relationship.
they are desperate for a sexual partner, regardless of what your stance on the relationship is. They never want that idea of having friends first and then having relationship partners second,
Yeah.
or at least a significant other secondary. You gotta build up your community within yourself and outside yourself to be able to have that. First of
Oh,
all,
you do. Yeah.
they have no. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though.
Mm.
They have no social action. They have no social action or contact whatsoever. So outside, excuse me, in their point of view, when they see other people connecting with each other, they automatically think, "Oh, they must be dating. Oh, they must be family.
Yeah.
This must be what a family does. Oh, because you didn't have you haven't, or maybe because you don't have a good family life, or maybe you're not born to you don't think you're born to the right family. What is this? Uh, a trigonometry associate, not associate, somebody who was on trigonometry had coined
Mhm.
the term. I believe it was called sugar families or glitter families. I'm not sure if you guys follow trigonometry or not, but that
Mhm.
was an interesting term I've heard where people who are dissatisfied with the kind of family that they were born into end up looking for
Mhm.
a family elsewhere. So that's where you get the people that get into cults
Mm-hmm.
or political spectrums
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
any kind of social gatherings because they're finding a better family through another family. Whereas I like to think that these kooks that that think that everything has to be something with strings attached, or at least something has to have there's something more to it without building up that understanding of where they stand on certain things with other people.
Yeah.
They just it's like that. I always liken them to children that didn't grow up.
Mm-hmm.
I like it to play their activities, playground activities where two children kiss. Oh, I think you're pregnant now.
Uh-huh.
Or two children kiss. I guess that makes us married.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They have no. They have forego the idea of ever sitting down to study what it is that they're supposed to be looking into in terms of being an adult.
Well,
But they act as if they have the right idea of what adults do,
a
just
Well,
lot
like a
that's
of it.
child
another
does.
thing too, because there are also many different levels that nobody explains to them of love.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly,
there
exactly.
are there are many different levels of love. There's the crush love, or there's even the like you were referencing school children, a kid who's crushing on a little boy who's crushing on his elementary school teacher. Okay, or
Yeah.
the familial love, or the brotherhood love, and stuff like that. They're not being properly trained. They're not. I don't think we are. Con-
Socialized is the word you're looking for now. I knew you were going to go with trained, and that actually is true.
yeah.
Also, that word
So,
can apply.
well, but that's also the problem is that uh, what is it? In order for the human mind to grow, we must go out there and interact with other people so that
Well,
we
yeah.
may be able to
But
assign.
I'm an introvert. No, you are a lipstick introvert. You
Well,
just don't want to make the
you,
effort to connect with people. I'm a freaking introvert and I connect with people.
well, what ends
Yeah.
up happening? What
And I
ends
don't
up
need a
happening?
computer. I don't use a computer to connect with people. I actually can connect with people outside of my house.
Mm-hmm.
So don't give me
Well,
that. Well, I'm an introvert. That's gonna be impossible for me.
Well,
Nah,
I'm an INFJ. Whatever.
well, there's
yeah.
I've
also
seen those
many
letters
levels.
before. I've seen those letters before.
Oh
There's
goodness.
also many levels of introvert as well, just like there are many levels of an extrovert. An
Yeah.
introvert can be a very social person, but who they choose to let in on their very deep and personal secrets and levels, that may not be, that could be an introvert. Or a person who is very out there and just airs everything, including their dirty laundry out there, that could be that could be an introvert as well. they air everything out to that person so that person may, you get what I'm saying?
I'm more of the latter.
Well,
I only share whom I can trust with
Exactly.
certain
well,
information.
there's a lot of layers to
I'm that way too.
how we can
I'm that
approach
way too.
this. Because if we're talking in comics, if we're talking in pop culture, I mean, it's like, what are we pushing? Are we still pushing the nuclear family, or are we saying that? Are we
It takes
elevating?
a village to raise a baby.
Well, yeah. Are we
Yeah,
saying
that's
that,
another.
or
Yeah.
are we saying that it's okay to come from a single parent home and totally dismissing the relationship with the father, completely saying, well, you don't need a father to be an individual, blah 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 blah. I would tend to argue that what popular culture tends to do is to push the agenda, more or less, getting away from traditional pillars to be able to not so much in selling the product, but being able to say, oh, look, we're just like you as well. Like, our
Well,
superhero comes from a broken home, blah 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 blah. As opposed,
before I weigh in on that, can I just ask, what do you think
yeah.
of all this Leia plus size?
Well, of an introvert?
No, the conversation in general.
Okay, I thought you mentioned Victoria's comment. I'll get to that in a minute, being the feminine. I just
Yeah,
want to
yeah. I
say,
was about to bring that up once you guys are done talking about about this whole introvert stuff. Go
I want
ahead,
to
Leia.
address, I'm going to quickly, I'm going to quickly address the introvert, then I'll get to Victoria's question about feminine. Um, I agree with Scooney. There's all levels of introvert. Like for me, I'm sort of the B one. I'm social, but I'm only comfortable around. I'm social around certain people that I choose to let in and I want to associate with. I also there's introverts who enjoy their time alone. I like my space. I like my
Mhm.
alone time, but I
Right.
also like being social with you guys and
Hmm.
perhaps people that I have more in common with than perhaps just being the life of the party. I never was the life of the party. I never was a chatterbox, but when I but I enjoyed, I enjoyed doing plays and doing drama and being on stage and in an audience. I
Mhm.
loved all of that, but off stage, I was pretty quiet. But so it's
Mhm.
different levels of introvertism. Introvert doesn't mean I'm hiding in a hole somewhere and people scare me. It's just that there are
The
some people who are,
stereotype that people like to think.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
what they think introverts are, that we're hiding in a hole somewhere in the basement and we don't want to come out because people scare us and that the human race will, but that's not what an introvert is.
Human race is doomed, so why make a connection?
Exactly. Exactly. But I'm the latter. I'm not I am social around groups and friends that I feel comfortable with. And then I
Mhm.
also enjoy my alone time. When it's time for
Mhm.
my alone time, I like to have it. So to me, you can have a person that say maybe every Friday night they want to go out and party at a nightclub, but I can be very happy coming home on a Friday night, booting up and putting
Yeah.
on my favorite DVD, and I would absolutely love it. Or chatting with a friend over the internet or on the phone. I don't need to be at a club partying it up. I never was like that. So there's different
Bonus
levels.
points if there's a two-tone man waiting for you at home too. Then put on some bacon and eggs
Two
and,
tone,
That's,
and
that's
some
I did.
and some
that's
spaghetti
another.
two tone like
and
two
got the
chains.
grits on
Oh goodness,
and then,
goodness.
and then he snap his fingers and music playing in the background. He doing a Magic Mike's dance routine and
Mm-mm.
carry across a room full of flower petals
Oh goodness.
leading to the bed
Oh
Uh-huh.
goodness.
because
And
that
he
man
takes
happy
her,
you got
he,
home.
and he takes her right to the bed, and on the nightstand, all her favorite
Hey, we
foods.
ain't gonna get that far, man. That's as far.
And he said,
I stopped at the room. Okay,
and he said,
Nah, I thought about the
and
rope.
we ain't gonna explain what happens in that room.
I'm gonna go that far. I'm gonna go that far. And then says, "So are you
There's a lot
ready?"
of yiffing that goes on in there.
So they
What'd you
go,
say,
"So are
Schooner?
you?" So then he goes, "Are you ready?" She'll say yes, and he turns on the TV, and they're watching.
That's usually how it goes. It's like,
I
it's
thought
like,
I thought a Chris Evans jab was about to come in there, but
Nah,
Nah,
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought
No,
I will
lady.
admit, I will admit, I was thinking that at the back of my mind too when he
I
was
thought
going there. I was like, oh, it's another Chris Evans joke. It's
no.
another Chris Evans joke. But let me
Yeah,
read Victoria fact about
go ahead.
line, and Leia, you can go ahead and explain your thoughts. But she says, do you think that one of the reasons that feminists hate feminine because they felt that bad side of being a woman outweigh the good, and that acting more like a man is easier, that men have it easy? She's now before you go on, Leia, let me address one thing. She
Mm.
has asked this question
Hmm.
on Ishii's stream, and I picked up on that question. So just let you know, Victoria, I saw that question. Please do try to you know, ask that same question for Ishii. Hopefully he'll catch it and read it, and hopefully Kat will answer that too, because I'm pretty sure you would like to hear the woman's side of things in the case of Kat, because she has some amazing things to say about women on her behalf. But of course, we would like to hear Lady of Valor's perspective on this. Go ahead, Lady.
I don't see it. I think, and this is just me personally, maybe that could be that, or maybe there's something in this culture that is playing down the feminine, or the feminine is perceived as weak. They don't see how men and women complement each other. And whether you, and I'm going to throw a little God in here, whether whatever you believe in God or not, or
Mm-hmm.
not, or don't, but I do, and I think God is not stupid, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that he made men and women to complement each other. There's beauty in masculinity, and there's beauty in femininity. And femininity has a strength that is different. And just because it's different doesn't make it weak. But this culture, for whatever reason, and I personally think it's the individual person. I think it's just something about themselves that they
Mm.
don't like. And because they don't like this about themselves, they want everybody else to sort of feel that way about themselves.
Mm.
So if they are not comfortable with the being feminine, or they don't like what is feminine about them, they want to hate everything. They want to turn on everything else that is feminine. For some reason, they've got issues themselves. There is beauty, there's feminine beauty, and there's strength in that beauty. There's strength in
Mm-hmm.
motherhood. There's strength in the beauty of being a mother, and the skills that, and again, I hate to bring up God in the issue, but that's the best way I can explain it.
No,
But
bring it
if you
up.
see
Bring
it
it up.
any other
You
way,
bring your right on in here, Lady of Valor, because I am with you 100%. I believe.
Mm-hmm.
thank you, Scooney.
It
That
don't matter if
there,
I believe or not. Just bring it. You don't offend me. I
there,
heard
there
God all throughout throughout my tenure of practicing my atheism. So that don't bother me, not one. I
And
mean,
I
and
like,
I'm
and
I'm able to be around the professor when he does his Bible study. So
and Lady
that
of
ain't no issue
Valor,
for me.
I support you all the way. I'm ready to die on that hill. I'll pull a Rick Sanchez. They got me up there, and I'm like going, do it, I dare you, do it.
Continue, Leia.
yeah, there's a beauty, and I think that it scares them because maybe there's a part of themselves that they just don't like, and that's why they're trying to stomp out femininity. She's right. There's just seems to be this attack on
Mm-hmm.
femininity, motherhood, women. Look, we have breasts, okay? Women have breasts. We're curvy. It's a part of our anatomy, and it's nothing. And I just, whatever went on, whatever's going on in their own lives, for some reason
Mm-hmm.
they're turned off by it. I think it's something personal within themselves that they feel, because there is an attack on femininity. There is an attack on femininity that I'm seeing. I have no shame being feminine, having my curves. I'm very proud of it. I wear, if I find I buy a dress that shows off my curves, I'm proud of that. I am not intimidated by
Preach,
masculinity.
girl. Preach.
I am not ashamed by that. Masculinity is not a threat to me. I welcome it. It's sexy. It's what makes a man a man. And so I would, why would I want to compete with that? I don't want to compete with
Well,
that.
uh-huh.
Mm-mm.
That's the that's another thing that I noticed too, is that the devaluation of what makes you a woman, and just like at the same time, it's like this weird quasi thing going that we got going on right here: the devaluation of being a man and the devaluation of being a woman. And
Exactly.
when they're starting to make words like motherhood, wife, a dirty word.
I agree.
You know, and the thing is that you got feminists leading this charge, and then you got guys leading this charge now too. I mean, there was this one time I saw this one woman, this guy on a British talk show. This woman is talking about how what her perfect day was. Her perfect day was making breakfast for her family, making dinner for her husband, being with them and all that. And the guy just basically made her look like that. She made it sound like, oh wow, the 1960s called. And I'm just like, why? Why are you just devaluing that woman's happiness? She's
Yeah.
happy
I
that
would have
way.
told him to fuck off. Excuse me.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And it's just what we want to get away from traditional values. Why? Traditional values, historically speaking, have shown more progress in this new wave of thinking. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. But I don't know. I think we were making more
It
headway.
wasn't perfect because there were people like them screwing it up. It
Mhm.
for the many times of the abusive husbands and abusive wives, those were the people that wanted something more out of that traditional value.
Mhm.
When it
Because
comes
of
to
not seeing what those traditional values were. I mean, remember when having a child was sacred?
Yes,
Having and
agree.
make getting married in a church was not the subjugation of the woman. It was the two sides coming together, making a promise in front of people and God that they would cherish one another through their good times and their bad times. It was not saying that the man dominates the woman's life. It is, we are ready to take on this world now together.
Exactly.
to borrow from Ishii, what he was saying about the traditional values was the fact that the women did have the power in the relationship. They did have power with, well, not Ishii, but one of the speakers in his streams that actually had the mic at the time. Not Ishii
Mhm.
himself. It was someone else that brought up that the women had the power. In fact, what a lot of traditionalists and conservatives always push is the fact that women do have the power. They have the power to select the appropriate mate for their end goal, which is of course family, financial wealth, and what was that other thing? Family, financial wealth, and I guess a stable home. One, there's a third one, but I'm gonna settle for a good home life. So
Mhm.
he whom she chose to be the greatest mate for her end goal, which is a family, which is above all else, family was
Mhm.
was the it guy that she chose to start a family with. Now, whether or not that the two parties start working together or working, and if one had to take one for the
And that works though also the opposite way because the man also has a choice of who he gets to marry, of who he wants to mother his children, and who he has to take care of. Okay,
hmm
it's
Yes.
basically that was the ultimate moment of equality and unity because
Mhm.
both have their roles, and yes, there will sometimes be one who makes more decisions than the other, but that doesn't mean that the other one has to ask itself constantly, are we necessary? No, there are moments within a marriage where the roles split or the roles reverse. But that's
You
what
have
it but that's what it was supposed to be. The two of them taking on equal responsibility and to have sometimes their roles reversed.
you
hmm
may have a mate. You have some marriages, like with my parents. My mother was better at handling the finances than my dad was. My dad was
Mhm.
good at doing all the hands-on stuff, but mom was very good at handling the bills, the finances, the budgets, all that. So he left that all in her hands. You may have a mate who's a man who's probably a better cook than the woman. So it doesn't mean, and the woman might be better at something else, but it doesn't mean either one is devalued. It's a
recognize
matter of working together at the strengths, and
basically
that's
two parties need to stop looking at what's their bottom line. sorry, I had something going on there, but I
Hmm.
might as well just skip to my bottom line. Bottom line is, if one is going into union and holy matrimony, that is not your competition. That is not supposed to be your competition. That is
I
your
agree.
husband, or in reverse, that is your wife. That is not your competition.
I
That
think
is your
everyone is missing
partner.
the point. Everyone's everyone's going to abstract on this particular question because really what it is just indoctrination.
That
And
too.
this, because I mean this is all pre and post. Actually, it's more post World War II that it really kind of started taking place. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Hmm.
it was just it was another way to inject more people. Let's just say people, because at this point it doesn't really matter who actually was still here and who was actually abroad. As far as
Well, you
um,
also have to look at it from what the state of the world was in World War II. It's the world was changing.
but
That was and,
well, that
and this
I
was
mean
the
that
war that
could
was
be.
also,
You could call that you could use that excuse, but realistically what was going on is you needed to go ahead and push. It's easier when you have both men and women injected into an economy versus the traditional household where you have more or less a male figurehead who's actually providing for a family. If you can, once the women got into the workforce, you can now say, hey, you know what, there's no reason for you to go back to watching kids. Don't you just love this wonderful life that you have now? You can do whatever you want now. You can
Point.
choose whoever you want. But it,
But I didn't earn it.
it has to well,
Hmm.
it was more
I'll
but
fire back, but I
realistically
didn't earn it.
but realistically it was about pushing women into the workforce, and that inevitably ended up more or less began with the breakdown, or rather I don't want to say started, but it went subsequently more to breaking down the traditional family. Because, and here's the thing, if we're gonna keep talking about this, and do feminists hate feminine, whatever the question was,
Feminine,
as an
femininity.
individual, whether you're a dude or whether you're a chick, there's a certain level of responsibility that you have to adhere to. And it doesn't mean that acting like a man necessarily frees you of the responsibility of being a woman. You still bleed every 30 days. That's something that you have to take care of as a woman. But what I'm getting at is, as a
And it's not
woman,
and it's not for you to play with in an art class either.
finger painting. Oh my gosh. It's an inside joke from another
That
job.
that that
Some
video,
other
man.
some
That
some
video.
some other subject that was labeled finger paint for other reasons. But so there is a certain expectation in terms of what men would consider an attractive mate. um, Sucks for those people who don't feel like they need to have the responsibility of taking care of themselves in terms of personal grooming, in terms of their lifestyle choices. If you're in your
but
late.
also a nod to, yeah, it's not against anybody who tries to put themselves out there and
well
not
well
okay. Everybody has a
here's my
preference,
thing,
but that
and this is the
but
problem that we tend to have now because of the society that we're in. We tend to have to preface everything with a statement that says not to
mhm.
offend certain people. And it's like, if you're offended, then that probably means you may or may not have to do a little bit more work, but it's not geared toward any one person. And it goes
Precisely. Oh my God, Trooper, you got it right on the head. It's like, oh, sorry, you can't try. We didn't mean to tell you to try harder.
well, okay. And for men, okay, well, Leia would identify more with this statement than the three of us. Okay, in terms of men, if we're going to attract a person, first and foremost, what are we doing to attract that person? Are we hitting the gym? Are we eating well? Are we trying to realize the goal? Like, are we starting our own business, or are we in love with forestry, that's going to be our thing? What makes men attractive to women? uh Very easy. Are they successful? Are they independent? Can they make their own decisions? And are they respectful of that woman as a person? Like, I don't want to have too much of a chivalrous tone.
I agree with what you're saying, Trooper. And as much
Yeah.
as I hate to, be pro-image, it's that you sometimes people can encapsulate all of that, but because you don't look the part, you're not going to get chosen. So image is the first image. As much as I hate going pro-image here, image is the first thing that should be important because that gets the attention. But go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt, Scooney. I'm just going to go right with what you're saying. This is a fact. Both of you make it a point, but there is a fact. Men respond to the visual. Whether we ladies like it or not, they respond to the visual. So the image is the first thing they're probably going to look at.
I'm an ass man, so yeah.
I was going to work on.
I will say this. Piggybacking off of Leia's statement there. That's how I met my wife, by noticing her ass.
And can I say right quick? That's how my parents met my mother. I'm going to say this, guys, because this is going back to what you were saying, Trooper. I asked because I take after, as you know, I'm the largest of my two sisters. I take after my mother, who was plus size, and my mother was plus size at the time she met my father. And I asked Mom, well, Mom, you were big. And she said to me, I was not going to date any other fat man like me. I didn't want no fat man like me. I want a good looking muscled man that was thin. I said, Mom, you can't say something like that. That's not, I told Mom, you can't talk like that. That ain't right. She said, why? Why can't I say something like that? It's true. And that's how I met your father. My dad is very thin, but that's what she wanted. But it was a statement like that couldn't be said now. But my mother is very politically correct, but that is how she felt. And she was always proud. And my mother said, she even said herself, she said, when your father met me, I was big. And all I told him was, I'm a big woman. If you don't like me, move on to the next person. But I'm going to be me, and I know what I picked. But hey, they ended up, and my dad said the same thing. And I guess my dad liked what he saw because my mom was thick when he met her. So, but it's just the fact my mother made that comment, but my mother did not want another fat. These are her words. No offense to anybody in the chat. These are my mother's words. I don't want another fat man like me. I said, but Mama, you can't say that. She said, why can't I say that?
Exactly.
Where does it say that I can't say that? And you know what? She got what she wanted because she married my dad.
Yeah, when we talk about attractiveness, we're not always referring to the physicality. Sometimes we're also referring to the abstract. So, I mean,
but the thing is that I've always seen too is that the image.
We're gonna move on to another topic. Go ahead and say what you guys say after this.
The image, because I kind of got this idea from Mob Psycho 100. It's you got to give the image help for them to see the greater parts of you. And that's how you build a healthy relationship, because they'll love you at your best and they'll love you at your worst. But I agree with what Leia and Trooper are saying is that but I'm just saying sometimes you need to you have to lay the foundation, and it begins with them finding that image of you that they like.
Let's also add that these idiots also hate that they believe that they're entitled to say that you're not allowed to have a personal preference.
Well, it's
I agree with that.
abdication
You should
of
lower your
responsibility, because it's saying, well, you should like me for what I look like. And it's like, okay, well, if you're a sloppy hellbeast who literally eats 6,000 calories a day because you think that is something that's going to attract me, then you're probably going to get stuck. And
yes, I agree with that.
Yeah. And okay, well, and we're talking about the pink hairs with all the, with the, what's the best word?
Fixation on body hair.
You are crying, you need to love me.
Yeah, I don't have to shave.
Yeah, you want like these, like Matthew McConaughey or like.
Yeah, I don't have to shave. I can do whatever I want, and you should like me how I am.
Do what you
don't.
Fine, do what you want. Don't expect me to be along for the ride, you freaking hairy cow.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they're
say that. I'm sorry, I hurt your feelings. You hurt mine when you say you're not going to take good care of yourself. I'm
Well,
not
they're
gonna sit
wanting
here and
to like,
pay your medical bills. I'm not gonna sit here and take care of your sick behind because you choose to get sick for your poor choice of habits.
right?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being an asshole. And that's
Yeah, yeah.
all I'm ever gonna apologize for.
And it's
Nothing
like, okay,
else.
and it's and it's from a male standpoint looking at a woman, okay, or looking at women, okay. They don't necessarily have to be like, say, freaking Olympic athlete fit, but it's more of, okay, does she have her circle of friends? Does she have her own life? Is she out there doing her own thing? Is she the type of person that I have to literally coddle every 5 seconds? Is she the type of person that literally goes for days without calling, to the point where I'm like, okay, well, is this even a thing? It's like, oh yeah, I forgot to call you. It's like, it's like, you're trying to find someone who at least at the very end of it has somewhat of a rhythm close to yours, that you can adjust both that person and yourself to actually be working as two individuals that literally communicate. Because what we've seen in pop culture and in comics is that you get that paradigm, two halves equal a whole. It's like, no, two halves equals zero. If you put one half and one half, it's still zero. Like, you want two individuals that function autonomously and work together to actually cultivate a relationship, and they're communicating. So when we talk about, that question as far as feminine and femininity, it's almost like these feminists are abdicating their responsibility to be feminine and what that entails. Sometimes that involves a little bit more work, because guess what? You're going to have to put in the effort if that's the type of man you want. If you want Chris Evans, you're going to have to be something that
Chris Evans.
attracts him to you. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. You can't.
You can't go out there with your freaking t-shirt that says, don't grab me by the pee, and all that stuff. That doesn't attract guys at all. That's not how it works.
Exactly. It's just like all of those Disney movies that they made where the introverted kid transforms into the handsome, good-looking guy, and he learns to see the inner value within himself while he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah. Any
Or like
thoughts?
how they try to turn MODOK into a bully individual, and he still becomes a villain at the end of the day. That was dumb.
I like this question right here. Any thoughts on retro gaming?
I
We
was about
talked
to read
about that. Yeah, we talked about that in the green room too. Like, people are going to be looking for older content because all the new content it's terrible, and it's terrible in a way.
A bit of retro gaming.
Yeah, and it's terrible in a way that it's overpriced. You're not getting any story whatsoever, and you usually can complete the game in probably 6 hours, maybe. You're almost having to go to older games to find that content that you like, which means reinvesting and getting an older system.
Yep.
Going through, say, like your hobby store to see if you can find a used Sega Genesis that's working and refurbished, because that's where all the content is now. Like, all the really cool, if we're talking about escapism, we're talking about retro gaming. There's nothing like it except in retro gaming, because you're not going to get a lot of it right now in modern gaming.
I recently played Resident Evil 4 last night on professional, and I'm pretty much halfway complete and completed that one. I played Sonic Adventure.
We went from player 1 and player 2. We went to co-oping. I mean, that's the type of leap we did in consoles. From console to, Xbox 360, and now subsequently what we have now. I mean, we've gotten away from, hey, I'm going to go over to so-and-so's house so I can play Mega Man because I don't have a Nintendo. We're now so far from that. And that's technically what retro gaming was. I mean, co-oping was getting a friend to be player 2, and then both of you can play Contra together.
I smack him upside the head when his head's not in the game.
Right?
And then it got really fun when they introduced when these games were not online, when these were just self-contained games, like with what was it, Nintendo 64, suddenly 4 players. It's like, all right, the family together can play Mario Kart, or like, all right, together
We can
we
play
can all
Super
play.
Smash Brothers.
Our
Yeah,
friends, we're playing Super Smash Brothers.
and they were advertising the family getting around the console and playing. You don't see that much anymore. You
And
know,
then you got these brats complaining about being matchmake, uh, being a novice and being in front of a very skilled player, and you got the other people telling them to get good. Like you're talking to a complete and total stranger. Whereas if you had that connection with your friend, where a friend is telling you to get good, then it's like, okay, I'll get good then.
well, do you guys
Whereas you
remember when there wasn't an easy, hard, or a casual mode? It was just the game. That was the game. You guys,
yep.
that's something else. I mean, now it's like you get, if you want more story mode, it's like, no, there wasn't a story mode before. It's like if you couldn't get past a level, you got a friend who could pass it for you, and then you actually kept playing. So,
or you watch them and you learn.
The stories were so basic, it was the levels you were supposed to go through. Like Mario, do you remember that time when they had Mario build your own level? Everybody was playing. That's where it gets fun because you could, but that's where like the fun of Mario was, the original Mario, going through those crazy, complex levels, trying to figure it out and learning on the fly as you went.
Tetris.
Yeah.
As simple as Tetris was, the more you play, the faster it start getting, and that's where you really have to start thinking of what your next move is. Keep you on your toes. Yeah. Miss Pac-Man or Pac-Man. Donkey Kong. I agree. Yeah. Original. I'm talking about original Donkey Kong, not Sega Gen.
No.
We could talk about Super Nintendo Donkey Kong, but I'm talking about when I say Donkey Kong, I mean arcade Donkey Kong.
Well, I remember
which I got to play on Donkey Kong 64, which was fun.
I remember my dad would drag me to the arcade, and he would play like for hours off of 1/4 on Miss.
Drag you?
Yeah.
You want to go to the arcade?
Well, not that I didn't want to go to the arcade, but it was literally more or less watching my dad play because, he could play for hours off 1/4. I would go through quarters like crazy. He's like, no, just watch me play.
It's like, watch and learn, son.
Right?
Oh, wait. Boy, watch and learn.
Right? So
was that a good Krell's impression? Or can I do a good Krell's impression? Boy.
Yeah, and then coming up 95, 96, then we get right into Mortal Kombat, and that was different. We started
Sadly,
going.
I'll never get my rematch from my uncles.
Yeah, like we've gone so far past like Mortal Kombat now. Like
no,
now
we're doing. They're in jail. I can't get my rematch from them. I've been waiting for a long time to get a rematch from Street Fighter to Mortal Kombat. Nah, I won't get that chance because they've been in jail all this time.
Well, for the longest time. Because we've single-handedly as a government, targeted, the breakdown of the black family. We're not putting money
all
into
families
it.
in general now too.
Now all families in general, because you can make more money now off the disparity of others.
Grief charity.
Yeah, look at all the social media and stuff like that. You don't have friends, you can find some online. Oh, you don't have someone to smash with. Oh, you can find someone online. Oh, you want to read a book? Yeah, order it from Amazon. As technology has progressed,
brokenness.
Yeah, as technology has progressed, we've gotten away from going outside and like as kids playing with other kids. Like again, it's that whole hey, don't come back till dinner. Like you don't see that anymore. So
I always make that point of saying every time we back then we used to family was nothing but a walk away from each other.
Yeah, like a block.
And you would tell your parents like, hey, I'm going over to such and such house.
Yep.
Or I'll be back. I'll be over if you want to know where I'm going. I'm going to be at my friend's house.
Yep.
In fact, your friend would have been your next door neighbor if you were lucky, even luckier than that.
Oh,
if your friend was your next door neighbor.
That was great.
Or on those days when it slipped your mind that you were going over to your friend's house to tell your parents that you were going to your friend's house. They were the ones your parents called and said, "Hey, is our kid there?" Yeah, he's right here.
Yeah. That happened to me a lot. Like I would go to my friend Eric's house, and like my mom would show up at the door. It's like, is he here?
I grew up with the famous, okay, you can go with such and such house, but be back before the street lights come on. And
Oh
I didn't have to
wow,
run
yeah,
back to,
yeah.
that's how I grew
I
up.
had
But
something similar too. Yeah.
when we saw those street lights come on, if I went past, I'm like, oh, let me get out of here. But I didn't live, my friend's house
That was
wasn't
that
too
was
far that I had to run to hit
that was
home.
Yeah,
layup
yeah.
for size. Me, it's like if the street lights come on, we spend the night.
Mm,
If it's family, we spend the night.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
like
Mhm.
at that point, like if we get late, either mom came over and walk us home at night, or we spend the night. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, and that was the other thing with moms. It's like if moms got to know each other pretty well, they kind of started swapping dinner nights. Like, okay, you're having dinner at Eric's house tonight, and it's like, okay, cool, whatever. She
Yeah,
gets the
those were
night off
fun
from
too.
cooking, and then Eric gets to stay at my house the next night, and it's like Eric's mom gets the night off from cooking, and just cool stuff that you don't get so much now. So
Exactly.
And Donna Powell asks, "What's the deal with ginger hair characters not getting any love or respect outside of comics or any form of fiction? Why race bend them?"
I don't know. I'm attracted to redheads, so I don't have a problem.
I agree with what that question too. It's like, why are they changing redheads suddenly? It's like you want to
Man,
talk
y'all went
about
crazy in the comments while I'm still like looking up these stuff.
Mhm.
And good night, Stanley Olaki. Have a good sleep.
I mean, redheads are getting
Make sure
horribly
Brian Gilmore
marginalized.
is not
Oh
not
yeah,
too.
they are. Yeah, they are. It's because it's a smaller demographic in terms of overall Anglo population, if you will. Um, but at the same
I
time,
remember those most
it also
awful.
denotes that there's hardly any genetic deviation in their DNA profile.
Well,
So
what I also find hilarious is that most of the top comic book characters and even TV shows, they're redheads. Why did they change? Because it was so unique. That's
yeah,
what it was. It was unique. It was distinct. Like the
yeah.
Flash, he was a ginger.
Mhm.
Mary Jane Watson. Let's see who else.
Gosh, now you're making me
um,
think.
Ariel, the Little Mermaid, it's not comic, but it's a Disney character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She
yeah,
lost
yeah.
that.
Redhead. Yeah.
Um. Brave.
Oh
was
yeah,
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
yeah,
Merida. Yeah.
Merida. Yeah.
Keep going, guys.
Red Sonja recently is what they've done to Red Sonja now. She can't be a
Hannah
redhead.
John Common is going to
Yeah,
be on you now.
I
yeah.
And
guess.
I call her Coco
look,
Sonja.
I guess it's
I
because
love
red
I love
hair
I
is.
love Cookie Chris Sonya.
I guess it's because red hair is like it's associated with untamed, being a free spirit, maybe, or
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 as Jorah Mormont put it in Game of Thrones, gingers are beautiful, kissed by fire.
right,
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Um,
there is that stereotype to live
I
up
made I
to.
made I made this comment on Ishi stream, and I said, she would have looked better as Queen La from Tarzan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If any of you guys seen the Tarzan animated series, that's where she's mostly best known for. I was seeing Hana as Queen La, because
Hmm.
she's got the body for it. I mean, she's got that stomach. And Queen La had that stomach. Oh my goodness, I could not stop staring at the stomach. That was a beautiful stomach.
But
And
that's another thing too about why
Hmm.
I lost my train of thought. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Oh,
I'm saying just seeing her walking around that loincloth
oh goodness.
that bikini bra and that white hair and those hook earrings and that serpent cane. Oh my goodness. Whew. And then
Well,
she
I
got
mean,
that winning smile. Hannah J. Common. When I saw her in Ant-Man versus Washington, she was ghosted. She has that little kind of creepy look towards Scott Lang, right? Like, oh, you got that like why am I like, don't do that smile, because you had that smile in Tomb Raider as well. You were in Tomb Raider and you had that smile. Like, don't do that smile, because you supposed to be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs right now. I should not be. I should not be admiring crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Trooper.
And
You were gonna say something.
even Scarlett from G.I. Joe and even Barbara Gordon were redheads.
Yeah. Well, I guess when we think of redheads, I mean, to me, it doesn't come across as being the iconic feminine, maybe like a heroic version of a feminine character. Like usually if I think of the, iconic feminine character, I always think of a blonde, if you will.
Well, it's
So
also historically dating back to, when Rome was conquering the world, Celtics and all that kind of stuff. The warrior woman was the archetype with the redhead. I mean, that's where most of the
yeah,
redhead archetypes come from. Hence why
yeah,
they either have a Scottish accent or something. You know what I'm saying? They
yeah.
derive
Yeah.
I
from
know what
that.
Hmm.
They derive from that archetype because
Yeah.
in Celtic cultures,
yeah,
in
Kel Lord.
Red
Celt
hair
lore,
was a trait. Red hair was a trait of someone from that culture. It was a trait for
Mhm.
fiery red hair.
yeah,
I just think it still has something to do with cancel culture. It's just
yeah,
I just
and
still feel like we can't have white leads anymore, and that
which is
includes
also
people
kind of
with red hair.
which
Mhm.
is also
We're going to the
crazy.
reverse civil rights movement at this point. That's what I'm
Exactly
saying
because
now. The reverse civil rights movement,
it's
where
this archetype. Go ahead, go ahead.
this time is good for them because these are purportedly disproportionately uh descendants of white masters back in the day.
Oh, that's
So
terrible.
so so it's fine for us. So it's fine for us to treat them like how the white men back then treated my people back
Oh
then.
goodness. Oh
So
goodness.
so so so
Mhm.
so we're getting we're feeling that vindication that we are segregating the whites from the blacks.
Hmm.
And does anyone not
Uh,
realize that this hatred is just going to breed more hatred?
Agreed,
Well,
Trooper.
whenever you start having populist
Vinny.
movements, the easiest way to more or less quell that is by creating more division. I mean, I mean, granted,
Oh,
yeah,
I
the
agree.
last 4 years,
I agree. Just like what you were saying, create
yeah,
disunity because what does the Celtic woman archetype, redhead represent? That there was a time in history where there were, I mean, that they're trying to make you forget that history, that moment in
yeah,
history where the
yeah.
roles of men and women were blurred in the Celtic lore and Norse mythology and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah,
They want you to forget that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don't know. There was never a unity back then or a reversal of roles of men and
Yeah,
women at
yeah,
that time.
yeah.
It's
Like,
always been this very patriarchal world.
yeah, like if Matt Flynn were here, I mean, my discussion with him would be how they're trying to more or less erase history when we talk in terms of migrations
especially
and indigenous peoples to different areas of Europe, or how they're rewriting entertainment to where suddenly we're going to
we
go
have a
ahead
black
and
queen in
yeah,
England.
yeah. Well, yeah, and here's the thing. That's just it's
They're already
That's
doing that
you can
with
ridiculous.
call
Doctor
that
Who.
edgy writing. You can call that edgy
That's
writing. You can call it
ridiculous.
being trendy. But I mean, what are you telling kids that are going to be watching these shows, which shouldn't be watching these shows because they should have parents, but because we've decided
Mm.
that it's better to have a single parent home than two parents, they're going to come across this stuff. So
And they're going to say history is a whitewash.
mhm,
Wow.
yeah,
Do you remember? I mean, do you remember in that Doctor Who episode, they're traveling back to the ancient past, and somebody's remarking like, "Wow, I didn't realize that England was this diverse this time around." And they basically said, "Well, of course not. The historians would almost never write about them. History is a whitewash." And I'm just
Oh,
like,
goodness.
and I'm
"No,"
like,
To which I
no,
would say, fuck off.
well,
because because
Excuse
I'm
me.
laughing now because
yeah,
guess
yeah,
what's
yeah.
coming into my head? Years from now, long way into the distant future, they're doing a remake of the American Civil War, okay? And
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
a black man as General Robert E. Lee. And he
Mhm.
says, I
Mm,
will fight for the South. And I'm just like, that is when you know we fucked up.
Oh, it's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
be it's gonna get weird. Once we start having, let's say they actually go back to doing films like The Patriot
it's a
or
reinterpretation of the Civil War. That's what they're gonna use as a
Yeah,
code word. But I don't want to stop you in the middle. But we gotta keep moving.
yeah, I saw that question. I never really watched any of the Rush Hour films, so I
I was gonna
wouldn't.
give my impression, which is technically a review. So
Is,
love the
isn't
first
that
one.
isn't that
Love
like
the
Jackie Chan?
Jackie Chan,
Jackie
Chris
Chan and
Tucker.
Chris Tucker.
Oh, okay,
Hmm.
okay.
That's- So love the first one, of course.
Yeah,
The original was always the best,
yeah.
of course. The sequel even better. The
Mm,
third movie, I had more expectations of it because soon sooner or later you want to ask when's the story shift going to be in Chris Tucker's favor, because of the past two films as I rewatched them, right?
mhm,
Okay, the first film we're gonna let that go because that was the story was definitely about Lee
okay.
Mhm.
and Carter was along for the ride, and
Mhm.
that's how the buddy cop stuff go in.
Yep.
Second movie still focused on Lee, still focused
Mhm,
on Lee about
Hmm.
his father and who betrayed his father, right? So we got a little
mhm.
more information about who screwed his father over. Third movie come in, it's still about Lee. And I'm like, okay, we got a little sibling rivalry here going on. Okay, we got what's his face from the Wolverine before he started
Mhm,
in the Wolverine. Yuriko's dad, right?
Hmm.
mhm.
Yes.
I'm like, so are we to believe that we cannot actually have a Chris Tucker movie in a string of Chris Tucker movies that he's been in that people like? And I don't understand where this Chris Tucker hate came from. This was
Me
this was
neither.
this was shocking to me.
I don't.
That was
I
shocking news to me, especially when they bring a Ruby Rod and Fifth Element. I was like,
Mhm.
where's this Chris Tucker hate coming from? Who
I
hates
agree.
Chris Tucker?
Just because
I
they say that his
agree.
voice is so loud and it's annoying, and I'm like, but
The
that makes him awesome.
Well, it was definitely coming from the critics. I mean, because as far as I know, like anything Chris Tucker was in, he had a built-in fan base already.
Mm-hmm.
And he's
Because I
great.
mean, I
His
mean,
stand up was great too.
I mean,
Yeah.
He was good
you gotta
live.
look at black comedians and the legacy of the black comedian in pop culture. Well, I want to say all the way clear through the '80s
It.
and into the
Let's just
'90s.
say this: Rush Hour
But
3 got me so mad, and believe me, I will
yeah,
stand by this. I did not enjoy Rush Hour 3 like I thought I did.
hmm
Looking back at it, I don't think I ever did enjoy Rush Hour 3. But Rush Hour 3 got me so emotionally angry at the film that I ended up doing a rewrite in my head, which is instead of it being Lee's brother, right? It would have
Mhm.
been
hmm
Carter's brother that they were dealing with. Remember back when Carter mentioned that his dad got killed because some punk
Yes.
Mhm.
didn't want no ticket.
Right.
Yeah.
What if his
hmm
brother was involved in that shoot in that killing? Not necessarily
Oh
the one
wow.
that not necessarily pulled the trigger,
hmm
Yeah.
but he was there, and
Everybody liked him.
Carter disowned his brother because he was there when their dad got shot,
Mhm.
who was a cop,
hmm
mind you, and he ended up becoming, and that's what prompted Carter to go into you know being a
Law
part of the force, law
hmm
enforcement, and that's what basically strained their relationship. So his brother still committed to being a crook and end up creating a crime, being a crime lord basically.
hmm
That's why
actually
that's
makes
why I
a
would have
lot of
done.
sense. That would actually make a lot of sense too. Tie into the first
I
rush
agree.
hour. That would tie into the first rush hour when he says, "I know what you do, and the only reason why I haven't busted you in so long is because you're my cousin." So obviously, his brother got some of his other family members involved, which would make Carter the quote unquote black sheep of the family.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he
There you
because
go.
he because he's the officer of law. That's where my rewrite would have went for Rush Hour 3. Like okay, we
Okay,
got two
already
movies.
I want this movie.
I'm just saying, like already two movies we got Lee, but
Hey, Sound Engraver.
oh hey there, Sound Engraver.
Mhm.
Hello, Sound Engraver. Welcome to the stream.
Get a
All
pack of
right,
Q-tips. Oh hey Age.
go play with your violists. I'll be here.
Wolf Commander, I do agree with your review of Rush Hour. You practically nailed it. I said the same thing. The first one I liked. The second one I really loved. One of my favorite, all-time favorite comedy buddy picture movies. And I felt the third one was a big letdown because it should have been what you just described, Commander. And you, Scooney, both your scripts sound better than the movie we got. So I totally agree with you there on it because oh my God, in Rush Hour 2, how can you not beat that scene where Carter's trying to get Lee to shoot. Nobody here but us, Lee. Go ahead and shoot him. It was so hilarious. He was, yeah,
I
he
like
was like,
that too because it starts off with him saying, "Don't shoot him, Lee. He's trying to aggravate you." All that kind of stuff. Then he mocks his dad. He says, "Oh, he goes too far. Shoot him now. You got to shoot him."
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's Chris Tucker has the potential to do serious films. He did Dead Presidents. He's not there, you know, in Dead Presidents. He's not always there to be the comic relief. There are times he shows genuine capacity to do serious things,
Serious project. Yeah.
especially in
Even in the more recent movie,
You,
Silver Linings Playbook, he did a good job in that movie.
yeah, he did. I agree. And even in the first Rush Hour, the very scream you described when he starts to talk about his father, you see there was a little serious moment there when when he describes what happened to his father and how his father died.
Rush Hour
So
2.
yeah, same thing in Rush Hour 2. So I do agree with you. He
At
can
all
he can
at all
stretch.
times we've been together. Rush Hour 1, Rush Hour 2.
Yep. So he can stretch, Commander. I do agree with you. He's more than just the comic relief. And Scooter, the movies you mentioned too, he's done some serious stuff as well. He's pretty convincing.
Money Talks. That scene with him and his brother. Even though
Yeah.
even though majority of that scene he just bobbing around and rambling on, like there's some connection, like even with the tone, like everybody else around him, serious face, nobody's joking around with him. He's the one that's like keeping the mood even kill. You guys brother, giving them weapons, and he just casually just grabbing just casually grabbing the weapons the guns that he's going to take to the final act, right? And his brother just right there, just looking at him like you better have enough money to pay that all that. Like seriously, you better. He just grabbing, just going away, and just.
And I love that scene. I even love that scene too, that serious scene too, because at the very end you see him break a little bit in that serious face and says, "If you need help, call me."
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And what does he do? He shows up. I mean, yeah, he gets a phone. He gets a answering machine. And you're like, oh, his brother's going to let him down. Was that his actual brother in the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or just I think it was cousin. I don't know. Anyway, they talk to each other like they're brother.
Yeah. Yeah. So he calls him up on the answering machine and he says, wow, the one time he actually needed his brother, he didn't show up. Well, what does he do at the very end? He blows in with a bazooka.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that was funny. Homie. Yes. That was funny.
Yeah, that's our assessment of Rush Hour franchise. They say they were going to do a Rush Hour 4. I'm like, oh, so they're going to do Lee again for the fourth time ever?
Why not?
Then count me out.
Why not?
And even then, they throughout Rush Hour 3 before we move on to something else. Before we move on to the next commenter, they made Carter to be like this very, very insensitive person. Like he was just like the whole fact when the girl takes off her wig, right? He automatically thinks that she's a dude now. I'm like Carter, come on, buddy. You ain't never seen Indy.Re in this universe. Lil Kim, bruh, you play Can I Get a What? Like I'm pretty sure a lot of these singers exist in the world of freaking Rush Hour, and you mean to tell you ain't never seen Indy.Re with her hair shade off? Come on, that girl look good.
Goodness.
You ain't never seen Missy Elliott with her hair shaved, and she's a what?
No, actually, no. I always saw her with like curls or something.
Or Eve in her first debut song. What y'all homies want? You can't touch. I'm pretty sure Leia knows what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Yes,
That
I
was that,
did.
that was her claim to fame. Shaved head and everything. Look like a tomboy. Oh my goodness. Riding on quad wheels with DMS. What? Where am I? Where am I? Stop. Drop. I'm gonna stop now. I'm hyper now. I'm
Okay.
hyper.
Well, you know what? I was gonna
I
add.
reached I reached the bottom of the monster, guys. That's where I get the most hyperist.
I was gonna add just one thing in terms of 2021. You know, in talking about Chris Tucker, it got me thinking about legacy of black comedians, especially black male comedians, because I don't see anyone in particular that'll be carrying the torch, from here on out. I mean, all of the comedians I can think of. They're all pretty up there. I mean, if I go from Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, Cedric the Entertainer, Bernie Mac, Red Fox, Martin Lawrence. You mean, you know,
Yeah.
right now we're in a time where comedy is pretty hard to do already because there's so many landmines you can't touch.
Now you got
Uh,
Chris Rock doing a Saw movie, and you know what? He's doing a
Which
good
was
job.
pretty interesting.
Look, he's. I never thought I would come across a year where Chris Rock is selling me on being hardcore,
right?
like
And
Stone Face.
if you wanted to preview of that, have you ever seen watched Fargo the series?
Mhm.
I have not seen it, but bruh,
He
I
he's
saw him in
in season
Spiral.
3.
I
He's
mean,
in
I think we touched on this a little bit, and I think we just kind of poked at it and kind of moved on. But it's like, how many Tyler Perry movies can Tyler Perry do without being criticized for something he does as Medea? So
Hmm.
the
Tyler
sandbox or
Perry.
the
The only
playing
way you're going
field.
to survive, Tyler Perry. The only way you're going to survive at this point is that you say you are Medea. You like you got to go
No.
all the way.
Oh goodness.
Oh, yeah, I
Exactly.
ain't getting the Iron Man reference.
I got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Say the truth is, I am Medea. Dun, 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 dun.
You know,
Dun, dun. And then that's how you start a new Medea movie.
mm.
I am a deer.
Uh,
Have her do it exactly like that as Medea too. She goes ba 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 da da ba da 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 da.
friggin' the Medea verse. Oh goodness. Oh goodness.
Hello.
Oh,
Victoria Backpile have asked, she says, have you guys watched Jupiter's Legacy TV series? And if so, what is your thought on it? It looked mixed reviews. Some love it but some hate it. I have not. I know it's on Netflix from what I heard. It is on Netflix. I did peek at a clip of it. It don't seem like my cup of tea though. Production value seems a bit. It reminds me too much of CW Supergirl in the production value. Now, story wise, I will have to really look at it closely, or my wife just happened to have it on, and I'll be just along for the ride, and I'll give you my full thoughts, or maybe I'll just check it out myself to get my full thoughts. But right now, I'm waiting for Castlevania season 4, which is going to be in 2 days, I believe. Yeah, 2 days.
Yep, 2 days. Interested to see. I hope it's good.
Same here. I'm going to be talking about that in Cultural Fortress later on as well. But and I'm also waiting for part 2 of season 5 of Lucifer, which we've been waiting for a long time for that. Finally, or an appropriate phrase would be, "Hell, it's about time." No StarCraft, no StarCraft fans, no StarCraft fans, none.
mm-mm.
Okay,
Nope.
okay. That's all. That's where it's from, by the way. So that was the teaser for StarCraft 2, and one of the Terrans says, "Hell, it's about time." That's probably a reference to how long it took for them to make a sequel to StarCraft. Of course, Sarah Proctor is clarifying, dude. I knew what you were talking about. That dude was into some kinky stuff. Marston. He's talking about Marston with the rope play.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I know. I'm like, that was an hour ago.
Saying he's already asleep, but if he catches in the rewatch, I'm gonna read his stuff real quick.
Right.
I got one. Instead of
But-
chasing Evans, it's called craving Evans.
Oh wow.
Oh, here we
no.
go.
Oh no.
Oh my God. Oh,
Touched by
goodness.
Evans.
Guys,
Oh,
Wow.
you know what?
Oh,
Okay,
God.
so I'll bring this up really quick because I want your live reaction. Okay, Leia,
Oh my God. Yes.
what do you think about a Native American version of Captain America?
I'll give
Native,
my answer, but go ahead, Leia.
Native American version of okay, are you referring to this thing they're doing in the comics that's supposed to be the 80th anniversary and they've got now the Native American Captain America?
Yeah,
Is that-
Joe Gomez.
Oh.
Joe Gomez. Did you see the new suit?
I did, and I rolled my eyes
It is
because
not form fitting, is it?
no, it's not, and it's not even necessary.
Dude
You're
look like
absolutely
a
right.
discount Ultimate Warrior. I called him Geron America.
Yes, the Ultimate Warrior
here's
from WWF.
Here's,
Yeah.
the, here's the thing. I'm like looking at that and I'm like, oh my God, that is every single stereotype that they said that they want to avoid in the future. What in God? I mean, it's like, oh my God, too many jokes. Too many jokes. I have to mock this.
They got their BIPOC.
You can own Geron America.
Geron America.
Yes. All of these so-called
Oh my God.
Captain Americas are awful. Gay Captain America, black woman who didn't do her hair and forgot her other pants, Captain America. Now they have this like you said, Geronimo, Wild Bill, Chief Dances with Wolves, Captain America.
Yeah.
It's backfiring.
Running Elk America.
Chief full of bull.
Yes,
Reservation America.
yes.
Okay, I got it. I know how we can save everybody from these race swaps. Just make them all Keanu Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
Keanu America.
No, God.
Okay. Yes, that's
Well.
that's
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm waiting for my non-binary America. That's what I'm waiting for.
Saying Oakley was not entirely impressed with Anne Rice's work, but he deemed it all right.
That's okay. And rice is not for everybody.
Oh,
All
she is never for everybody.
Yeah,
especially for the pure heart and the repressed. Oh no,
yeah. No.
Yes,
no.
yes.
She's almost a white Zane. Almost.
I enjoyed it compared to now. We don't get good writers that write it because I think the reason people don't make get Anne Rice's book is because she didn't follow the usual formula that you see now, like in Twilight or in True Blood, or with the books, the Stackhouse Chronicles. She didn't follow that. They call it smart writing or intelligent writing, and I like that. It's a vampire story.
But I feel very strongly about it. Can we just call it this? Competent writing.
The lady knows her
because
crap.
you're not supposed to get slightly turned on by the fact that the vampires are drinking people's blood and they're kind of enjoying it.
Speaking of turn on and off, Sam Parker says, sounds like they made too good job describing it. That was directed towards me, talking about the feeding scenes and interview with the vampire.
Well, I mean, with a lot of these novels, it's like there's a certain level of like, and I hate to say it, but there's a certain level of comprehension you have to be able to catch a lot of the nuance, because if you just read a novel every now and then, it's going to take you a while to get through a novel. But once you start reading one after the other, you can start whipping through them. And then you can literally start seeing through the author's lens of what he's trying to convey to you as you're running that film through your mind. But if you don't sit there and read books all the time, it's pretty tough to kind of get that across, and it comes across as, I don't know, something completely different. I mean, I know I've read a few Star Wars novels at least once or twice, and like on the second read, I caught something I missed on the first read. So that kind of thing.
Yes, and people are not reading anymore, which means a lot of
No,
this
They're
yeah,
not.
trash.
I agree.
Hence why
yeah,
this trash writing is getting so like weighed through because they don't think anyone's going to give their novels a second glance.
yeah, 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 yeah. And that's the whole thing. It's like, okay, well, if it's a good product, of course I'm going to buy it because I want to read it again. But
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
Hence why all of this. Hence why you go to Barnes and Nobles, you'll see new releases probably only have like what 2 sections to them, and you got the
yeah.
old school section of literature right back there, and they got rows after rows.
Well, the crazy part is, it's like, okay, so I don't know what happened in science fiction, but everything now looks like Divergent now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
does. Yeah.
and I
I
remember there
agree.
being a little bit more stratification before. Like you had your Star Wars geeks, which I kind of was a part of that club a little bit, and then you had your Star Trek nerds, which I was slightly a part of, and then you had, gosh, you had your Tolkien nerds, which that's not science fiction, but it's like literally in that area. It's sci-fi and fantasy are just kind of lumped together, so you came across different people in
Sci-fi
the
and
bookstore that you could
fantasy,
talk to for hours, and then you can't find that. So
sci-fi and fantasy were annexed together because combined they are like almost one and the same. Because not one and the same as in if you like science fiction, you'll probably like fantasy.
yeah, well, the
And
crazy
I'm
part
just
was,
like that's fine with me
mhm,
because that just means a boost in numbers.
yeah. Well, the crazy part is recently, like I said, I went to Barnes and Noble and they had an entire wall just dedicated to manga. I was like, that to me was new. I was like, I'm not used to that. So, because I mean, how often do I actually go pick up new stuff? I'm
It's good.
trying to
That's a
get
good
a
thought
hold of
right
the
there,
old
Donnie.
stuff. So,
Right, good morning. About
yeah,
our topic
yeah, that
about
is
marriage. He
true.
says the person you marry is your better half, not your rival. Exactly, not your competition. Not
Yeah.
supposed to be. Never supposed to be.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, and like I
Exactly.
said, you have to be two complete individuals to actually form a working relationship. You can't be two halves because you become
The only time
codependent.
the only time I
So,
see when every time they try to make it a competition is when they surround themselves with friends who like to think that one is working against the other in a relationship. Like shut your mouth, mind your own business. For first of all, there like you only see a problem in their relationship because you don't have a good relationship with whomever you have a relationship with. So you want to make their relationship as worse as them, and you want what that other half want. Mostly
well,
coming from women. No offense, Lead Plus. That's mostly coming from women.
yeah,
They always see a woman that's doing good with her husband, and they want that cake. They want that cake. They want another woman's man.
That's
It's
true.
oh goodness,
now, mind you,
I
I'm not
actually
saying
that
that. I'm not saying it's a rarity when it's a man wanting another man's woman. I'm not
sounds like
saying
an
that.
episode of
We,
Scandal. That's what that sounds
it,
like.
I'm just saying it's perpetrated by women adopted by men.
Hmm. Well, okay, and here's the thing with a lot of this syndicated programming, it's now you see a lot of women writing these shows. You don't see as many. Well, no, you still do see some of the usual names writing some of these shows, but like predominantly when we're talking about series television, it's mostly written for a 25 to 45 female audience. So
Yeah.
you're gonna get those storylines of, oh, I like him, ain't what does it go, ring don't mean a thing, and you're gonna get all the little drama that plays out on this series, and they think that that's how real life should function. It's not. It's, if your friend has a constructive relationship, why would you want to ruin that? Or if you're
bingo.
trying to date this person, you as a friend would want to encourage your friend, hey, you know what, keep talking to him, maybe it'll work out, and if it doesn't, at least you tried. But you don't even get that. What you get is, oh, well, he's probably not your type, and then you turn around and it's that same female who's now dating that dude. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
and then you got the scathing jealousy over the one female over the other, and then the shippers say, "I think those two should get together," and then they just change the whole format of the host show for that.
yeah, and as dudes, we're not like that, but I've noticed that if we happen to get in like groups, and if we happen to be clubbing or whatever, there's always like one dude who just seems to just not be happy with what's going on, and he's got to sour it for everybody around him. I hate that. Yep.
And it's like, oh, it's okay for him to ruin everybody's fun. It's revealed that he's actually gay.
Yeah, most oftentimes, or quote unquote the straight chaser, if you will. So
yeah.
Let's see, little brother right now. I'm ginger
you're watching.
Yeah. See, and I used to do that too. Like, I mean, my mom was pretty good on where I would be.
That. I had moments like that too, where I forgot to tell my mom who I was with, and she, of course, I get the belt.
well, for me it's like, okay, at least it was one of those things where you should tell me next time so I don't decide to make dinner. Then
no, tell me next time was getting the belt.
So tomorrow you're getting tonight's
next
dinner.
time you tell me where you at.
Yeah. Just to get on back
to quote A. Griffith and Dysfunctional Family, pain will give you a memory of what not to do.
This is very true. This is very true.
Sam Proctor, the gift that keeps on giving. That was a beautiful stomach quoted by Wolf Tan 2021.
Yeah.
Me talking about Queen La's stomach. Yeah. Hey, who could argue, bruh? She had a 4-pack, man. She had a 4-pack. It was a strong 4-pack. I can see why she wanted Tarzan to be her mate. And she wanted to steal her away from Jane. When Jane got her powers, Jane grew a 4-pack instantly. Granted, it was magic, but
and that's the thing, now that you bring that up with beautiful stomachs
my
and stuff.
My only criticism of Tarzan, the animated series, was the fact that look, they sold me at the end of Tarzan, the animated movie, that Jane was in her long cloth with her fur bikini on and everything, muscular and all that stuff, doing everything that Tarzan. But you're gonna put me in the spot where she's learning all that stuff. I'm like, okay, this is not gonna work for me. I want to see Jane in that bikini cloth, not in some new get up that, apart from her yellow dress that she wore in the movie, or that white and red skirt in the movie. Mm-hmm. But you're gonna give me this boring dog green and white top, but no bikini cloth, not even the red skirt or anything. And then you're gonna make her clumsy. Make her all that stuff. You ain't gonna do the little twisty thing she did, and slip slide and all that stuff. No, you don't give me that. Don't give me that. No, come on, give me this one.
Implied that some time had jumped and Jane had learned how to do all of that just like Tarzan.
I don't see that. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. I was a kid. I'm like, I was hoping to see Jane, kicking some butt. She did in the series. She did, but I'm like, I don't like seeing clumsiness as a form of comedy, or her face plant every time she tries to do the slip and slide.
Well, that's what passes for comedy. So,
call me a male fetus if you want to, but I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. She was the butt of the joke on that front. I was like, nah, and they even made a joke one time when they first met Queen La, especially when she feigned that she was getting kicked out of the city of Opar, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got scenes where her and Tarzan are easily scaling mountainsides and trees and stuff. And you see Jane just struggling out of breath. I'm like, oh no. I get the message because I did love the message at the end. I definitely did love the message at the end, but I was not a happy camper in the journey. But what Tarzan said was really sweet to Jane, and Jane was like, but she was physically stronger than me, faster than me. She climbed trees like you. Jane is the best. But she was hotter. She had a kingdom and she had servants. I said Jane is the best. Mm-hmm. That's all Tarzan said. I was like, oh, that's so sweet.
Well, it's funny too, when in regards to an earlier question about relationships in comics, that's the other thing too. Like when you have your hero and their counterpart, you never have, Starfire's daughter as a counterpart to any of these heroes, and you have,
Night, Brian.
pop culture more or less saying that regardless of, how militant you look, you're a 7. You're a 7. You're a 7. You're a unicorn. You're a unicorn. You know, in order
See you,
for
Silent Graver.
in order to actually have a really good working like relationship in terms of world building for these comics, you almost have to have a comparable counterpart. If we're talking about Lord of the Rings, if we're talking about cinematic Lord of the Rings, if we're talking about, Arwen, versus, uh, what's his face, Aragorn. I mean,
Aragorn, Arwen, yes.
yeah, it's like, again, you're telling a myth, you're telling a story. Nowhere in this myth, is there, hey, you know what? I came across, said female. She had her hair,
I'm gonna address
cropped
angry
like a
Green Boss
dude.
real quick.
Yeah.
I love. Hey, not only was it the hair, but I love that voice she had. Phew. Look. Don't get me wrong. I love a woman with a soft voice too. But damn it, when a woman has that gruff voice, sometimes I'm like, oh my.
Well,
I get
Tank
what
Girl
you're
broke
saying.
that stereotype.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, Tank Girl was it was the iconic 90s female. Slightly tongue in cheek, little melancholy because she's kind of woken up to the fact that sometimes you can't wait on someone to do for you what you can do for yourself.
I'm gonna use the
And
bathroom real quick, guys.
and she was okay, and she was for more or less the 90s archetype feminine hero, a little bit more unconventional, but all the components were still there.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. That was when they were like, it was the grunge girl.
Yeah.
Grunge music was just coming in, but they still had features that distinctly made them feminine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm noticing too a lot of the criticism to Arwen in the original Lord of the Rings, and I'm like, she wasn't strong, she was melancholy and depressed. And I'm like, no, she wasn't.
No, she wasn't.
Put that fellowship ring right there. She's capable of fighting, but in the other subsequent sequels, you're showing strength. In my opinion, the real strength.
Yeah.
When she is,
character. So.
The strength of the strength of character to break off from to dare to believe to believe with her heart instead of believing in her mind. And challenging her father and telling him to go reforge the sword and give it back to Aragorn. Okay, she gave that push that ultimately gave Aragorn the tool he needed to achieve victory.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Nowhere in there is there any identity validation at all. It's
no. And also,
yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I agree with both you're saying. And also, I just want to mention in the book with Arwen, when she chooses Aragorn, she inherits death. So you have to realize the choice that is given to her when she chooses. Like Elrond tells her, well, if you go with him, you'll inherit death. Eventually, you will expire and die.
Yeah.
So you imagine.
Leia plus size, that also contains a very real message that you need to very much subtly convey to mythology about what it means to love somebody, to give that person the means to destroy you and prove that they will not do it.
Yeah,
is there any more greater definition of love than that?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I agree.
I was going to say it's kind of told. It's that same message basically gets told loosely through Steve's relationship with Peggy Carter, because he's a man out of time. So I mean, he outlives her. So and it's like those are the types of stories we don't tell because, quote, they're painful. Well, part of loving someone means that there's pain that comes with it.
Exactly. And loving
Yes.
somebody means in order to do it, and it's like what Aunt May says in Spider-Man 2, so beautiful. Sometimes, in order to do what is right, we must be steady and give up the things we want the most, including our dreams.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to do the right thing, Steve Rogers had to sacrifice his life of what could have been with Peggy Carter.
Right. Right.
All of that is undone in Endgame because, oh, well, it all worked out in the end. Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
no, there needed to be some genuine loss to Captain America's mythology. I mean, with Batman, it's with Bruce Wayne, it's his parents. With Steve, he lost his time, his life, and the woman he would have. I mean, because he had this. What I love about the story of Captain America, and more so the movie too, Steve Rogers is a man who is given everything that he could have ever asked for, chooses to do good with it, and to not really get that happy ending. He did everything. He did everything right, and he still lost. But he did not change or become bitter because of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that is not. And that's Go ahead.
I was going to say I agree with you, and they broke that message with Endgame, because Endgame, like you said, it didn't have to end with him having the perfect ending.
Yeah.
It could have had him fine, or maybe you
And
could have
where
opened
is
the door
Sharon
to
Carter?
Sharon
Sharon Carter is somewhere in D plusville doing her own thing, and I think
Yeah.
if someone told me correctly, I think she's now dipping into the hippity dip. She's not into Philly cheesesteak anymore.
Right.
So,
Exactly. She don't need no man. She don't need no man. Sorry, Commander. She don't need no man. That's how she's
That
written
ain't
out.
Sharon Carter. That's a
That's
clone of her. That's a scroll.
I was also
By
going
a
to add.
scroll. That's not Sharon Carter.
To
And how could you have taken away that great scene from Civil War after she gives Steve Rogers the kiss? He looks back. There's Bucky, and there's Sam just smiling and nodding like, yeah.
Well. Apparently she doesn't like Hershey Kisses. She likes lemon drops. So
I don't care. I don't want to.
None of that.
It's like what Wolf 10 Media says. That ain't Sharon Carter.
Well,
that wasn't Steve Rogers in Endgame, because this real Steve Rogers would not. First of all, you got to remember, he would not steal Peggy Carter's life and take everything away from her, and then go and run back in time and live out a life and give up everything he's ever done. So that wasn't Steve Rogers. So screwed on both parts.
What would have been more appropriate is that he didn't come back right away, but here's a new idea. So he doesn't teleport back on the platform, but he's sitting over there on the bench, and he still looks the same. It's just revealed that he just came back a different way. And he says, so why didn't you come back that way? He said, I had to make a detour. And that's when you can show him having the dance with Peggy.
Yeah.
I had a date. I had a date. So
that's what they should have did. Yeah, that's what they should have did. They didn't have to, like I said, he didn't have to be out of the picture totally. You could have still brought him back, but maybe he's the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. now. Maybe he's not off camera on talking to Winter Soldier, but you know that he's there. So that's what they could have done it like that.
Because even the theme of love and death is also embraced a little bit when Anakin embraces the dark side, which literally means Padme's doom.
So. Exactly, and that's another thing too, is that it shows, like we were talking about earlier, the different levels and different meanings of love. The love that he had for Padme in the beginning was the good love, but then the fear of losing her made him want to possess her. That's an evil side of love.
Yeah, and that all comes down to, I mean, if we boil it down,
that isn't even love. It's that's possession. That's different from love.
Well, and that's slightly, a lot of these themes tend to, play off of, Hades and Persephone and the seasons, if you will. Demeter having to get her daughter back. I mean, all this stuff is stuff that as human beings, we've retold because these are stories that we need to learn in order to be.
Let's give a shout out to Neil Starr real quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah, go ahead.
The brilliant star that shines through the night, the sonic boom that shakes the room. Rise, a man stands before you. Rise, a man, rise, a man. Kate, cow. Rise, a man, rise, a man. Kini, kru, kick, pow.
He's the riser man.
He is the rising man.
Yes.
And he also got
That's
another.
what it is.
He's also got another musical number that I want to dig into. Dare to believe you can survive. You hold the future in your hand. Yes, did I say that right? That's
Yep.
that's Transformers, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
But what was I going to say? Just building off of what Trooper was saying. Yeah, the Persephone Hades relationship, they're kind of building on that, but there's this very quasi dark variation that is not love that they're pushing, like this very damaged and abusive relationship.
Yeah.
They're very much romanticizing that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
and I'm like,
Yes.
that is not love. I don't know what that is, but you're calling it love. That's not love.
We can talk about that
Yeah.
more and maybe talk about
Another
how
stream.
how to write romance and
How to write romance.
how to
You want
write
to ask
love.
Starfire's
Or
daughter at the end.
we always try to make love sound less corny, as Matt knew he was trying to put it.
Well, I think it's just
Well,
I mean, the love between Starfire and Dick Grayson, at least in the comic books, was actually it was a tragic story, if anything, and they did it so well.
well, I mean, that comes from, when we say, love is really corny, that comes from the oversaturation of one type of narrative that you tend to get from popular culture. Now, we don't delve into the interplay between, characters and the differences of what it means to, be in love, have love, or covet love anymore. Now it's just one
To be
blanket.
loved,
Yeah,
to
now
be
it's just one
loved,
blanket thing. Now it's like, oh, they're
to be
hanging out together. Oh, they
loved,
must be going out. Or, oh,
to be loved, to
you
be
guys,
loved.
have you guys ever heard that meme before when they said how shipping works now, and it shows these two characters just having a pleasant conversation? Guy A, hello, Guy B. It is good to see you this morning. Fandom. Oh, they're screwing. Guy
oh
B.
yeah. It is. It really,
It is a nice choice you're having today, Guy A. Guy A. Yes, Guy B. Oh yeah, they're totally screwing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
They're just exchanging pleasantries. Guy A. Guy B, would you like to come into my house and have a drink of coffee with me? Guy B. Of course, Guy A. Thank you. Now everybody in the fandom's like, oh, they're screwing.
Oh, yes. Yes, so true.
yeah.
Well, I just think they've given love a dirty word. Love, the love,
Oh
pure
yeah.
love. Even with
They say
Frozen,
that
one of
love
the
don't
reasons
come easy.
is in the first Frozen film. Oh, true love is false. It's not real. Yes, you can have the love between two sisters, but you don't have to make the other type of love seem less important. And I just think like that was one of the issues I had with Frozen. It's like, yeah, I get it, the love is two sisters, but they sort of mock what true love is. And
Yeah.
there is true love out there, but they're
Yeah.
treating it like it's a dirty word. Like it's just because you struck out a couple of times doesn't mean love is not real. It's just that at that time that love just wasn't right.
Yeah.
Love, the thing you have to know about love is it's not perfect. When it's right, and you know it. But if you try to force it, you will never be happy with it. It doesn't mean it doesn't last.
See, I
But
saw
that's
the song "Fixer Upper," and I think like uh, I, I was I was intrigued by the whole "Fixer Upper" number. Was the fact that they were on this push of trying to push Kristoff as the prince of Anna's princess story, right?
Yeah.
And they pushed that to the side because of course priority. Your other sister is in need.
Right.
So we're it's basically that we're going to shelve that for now, and come upon that come the sequel, which from what I heard never happened.
Yeah.
Well,
Between
that's
them.
the thing, though, that a lot of people
I
don't
would have-
realize, and I think Professor Geek actually said it too. I think I heard this on a Professor Geek stream. the whole reason why Frozen got as big as it did was because the princess tropes were given to Anna, and Elsa is the one who's, pushing the progressive message. So Anna goes on
Yes.
the traditional adventure, but everybody's always focusing on Elsa, which marketing tried to do as well. But really think about it. If you take Anna out of the story, nobody would like Frozen.
Nobody would
Yeah.
like Elsa
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
Well,
Nobody
no,
would like
because,
Elsa either. Yeah.
no, because you have this, fourth wave feminist who basically is telling you can have it all, but when it comes to this, and this, and this, and that, you don't need that to be happy.
Well, that's
You-
another thing
By
that
the way,
they do is that
have you guys seen this this YouTube vid? If Frozen what Frozen as a horror movie?
yes,
I
yes.
haven't.
I thought that was
Dude,
awesome.
I would watch that in a heartbeat.
Oh no.
It basically paints Elsa as this sadistic psycho, and it makes Anna look like this victim who's being tormented by her.
Yeah, that end part of that trailer. Do you wanna do a snowman? I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This I will if Disney went this hardcore, I will watch in a heartbeat. Like this is some straight up Black Cauldron level stuff here.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Like the scene where she does the sickle thing about ready to nail old dude against the wall with the spikes and stuff. I was like, oh my goodness! And they did the snow monster.
They're playing up this very chilling and dark music. And
Did you guys see the Forrest Gump? If it was a horror movie,
No, I haven't seen that one.
dude,
I'll have to look at it. I'll have to look at it.
dude, they aired that so well.
Somebody actually one time, I'm trying to remember, there's this meme on, there was this funny little, not meme, this funny little message online that said, describe your favorite horror movie as a comedy. And I wrote something for The Shining, which is still to this day my favorite horror movie, the Jack Nicholson Shining.
Oh man.
And I basically wrote it as Jack Torrance, is looking to get away and write a book, but he needs to spend some quality time.
Neil Starr says he wants to see this. He wants to see his trip. I'm going to grace him with it.
Yes, grace him with that trailer. It's awesome.
That's funny.
While you're doing that, fellas, this has been wonderful, but I have to get ready to bow out now. So I have to
Okay.
eat
Same here.
dinner.
All right, then,
Oh, yeah,
before-
you got that. Yeah.
We got culture. Yes, Wolf. We got Culture Fortress soon.
Yeah.
One last thing before I go that I want to address very quickly.
Sure.
Someone brought it up. It was when you guys were going over Chris Evans TV shows I did for myself. Someone put up a quote and said that the Lady of Valor would not be happy with Evans because he's a liberal or something like that. Well, I just want to say that Lady of Valor is not intimidated or afraid of people that are different views from her. And that Lady of Valor, if therefore magical in another psycho universe, Evans, I should cross paths. I would not be scared off by it. I would not be intimidated by it. I would just simply say opposites attract. And then or then proceed opposites attract, and then proceed to still have it take place. So in other words, we can all get along even if we don't agree on everything. So
Right.
that's how Lady Vella would handle that. But that's all I'm going to say on the wonderful ideas. I had a great time. So I'm going to bow out. Guys, you had a great evening. Love your Evans reality show ideas. I must admit,
Actually,
I've never heard something done like that before.
This is one thing I wanted to bring up before you go. Lay plus size, and this is for everybody. How about if I do it Thursday, Schooner won't be able to participate. That will seem unfair. How about the Tuesday after we do what's called comedy elevator pitch?
Okay.
Where we pitch the most ridiculous shit we could ever come up with.
Yeah.
You mean like a good Captain Marvel film? Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
Or we play what I would like to call fancy studio production.
Yes.
Oh, I feel you guys are gonna tear me
There's the
apart.
I shared the no.
No, I don't mean it in a bad way. I don't mean it in a bad way. I don't mean it in a bad way when I said
Yeah.
that.
I think this is the trailer one that me and Schooner knows all too well, and it's shared in the private chat. You guys
Yeah, I
check
saw
that one
that.
out
Okay.
Okay.
because I think it's the one, or maybe it's this one. I'm gonna share two of them, but it is hilarious.
Not hilarious.
Okay.
Like
Oh no,
hilarious
that
as in,
the one
oh
I shared,
yeah,
that's not the one. I'm gonna show you the real one, the one that me and Schooner know all too well.
yeah.
Okay.
It's this one actually. It's actually this one, because I scrolled through it and I was like, oh, this one's the one I think. I'm not sure. Yep, it's the one because it has Anna singing "Do you want to build a snowman?" at the end. She's like in the shivering part. Oh my goodness!
Okay. I have got to check that out.
Yeah,
I've got
check
to.
it out. Check it out. It's oh my goodness, I love it. I
It's
forgot
like
how I came upon it.
I'll check it out and I'll message you on it a little later. I'll send you a
I'm
little
gonna show
note.
you the Forrest Gump one too.
Okay.
Real quick. It was done by AMC, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, AMC did this one. This was amazing. Let me see which one, because oh my goodness, I hate when they have multiples and you got to really weed out the ones that actually. Okay, here's the one. Give me a sec. I'm gonna share it in the private chat and share it with the local chat. So here's the one from AMC for Forrest Gump, if it, as a horror movie as it's called, and this is for the ones in the chat for those to look up afterwards.
tell you what, that Forrest Gump trailer kind of reminded me a little bit of Sling Blade. Did any of you guys ever watch Sling Blade?
Bits and pieces.
No. What that was it?
Bits and pieces.
I've heard of
Michael
it, but I've
Ironside?
never seen it.
I just remember Matt TV Perry in it too.
Oh
Yes.
my, yes, Matt. Yeah, it's
With Blade, it was a Perry of Blade, and he was partnered up with Sing Blade, and what they did to Deacon Frost was amazing.
Yep. But Billy Bob Thornton, holy smokes! I mean, he totally disappears in that role.
Hmm. But while we're at it, I might as well start beginning to wrap it up. So I'd like to thank everyone for participating. I'd like to thank my wingman, Leia Plus Size.
Thank you for having me. I had a wonderful time. And this is Leah Plus Size, your lovely lady of valor, saying until next time, you all play nice and be good. And I had a great hope you had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
This has been Trooper FN 2525, the man, the myth, the FN and the 25.
Hey guys, it was super awesome. We'll do it again. Go ahead and put in the comments what your favorite idea for the next show should be. We'll definitely look at your ideas. We definitely want to do a whole bunch of different stuff. We definitely, we want to do the fun talk, but we want to do stuff that you want to talk about as well. So like, share, subscribe. You can find us on MeWe. Again, Trooper FN 2525 from Imperial Occupied Balmora, just signing off.
This has been coming at you live in the basement with great Wi-Fi, Schooner the Tuna, the Schooner Tuna.
Coming at you live from a secret government facility buried deep underground, but has excellent Wi-Fi. This is Schooner Tuna saying, hey guys, it was fun hanging out with you.
This has been your Wolf Commander. I'm your werewolf, Wolf Time Media. This has been the U.N Spacey Wolf Squadron signing out. Ow!